Bat signals out.
Todd.
Hello, Todd. Hello, Todd. Newman. Gustav. What up? What up? What up? What up? All right. All right. I think we're good shape here. We got the chat coming in.
I'm an idiot. I should probably have audition open, shouldn't I?
It's probably a good idea.
Sorry.
It's probably a good idea.
Like, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do a podcast.
Like you do. All right.
Let's see. Output. If that's right.
Looking good here. I think all the things are good. Let me bring up my recording device as well. I'll probably have to turn off my metronome as usual. Do. Why is it taking so long? There we go. Turn off my metronome. Always does that. Check 1 2. Hey, check. Yep.
Test 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2.
Check 1 2. Hey, check. It's cool. It's like I'm a ventriloquist. You know. Look at that. No mouth. Check 1 2. Hey, check. Yep. Look, Mom, no mouth.
We were cleaning out my in-laws' house because they're moving, and we found an old ventriloquist dummy. You know.
Oh gosh.
It's pretty creepy. Yeah. So I put in they also gave me an old like toy box. So I put the ventriloquist dummy at the bottom of the toy box, and then we're gonna go give it to charity.
Oh gosh. Super creepy.
It's funny.
All right.
Do. Bump. All
right.
Ready to do this?
I'm rolling.
Oh, early.
Everybody can roll. Is everybody rolling?
Perfect. Yes.
All right.
I am rolling.
We're gonna do our little sync clap. It'll be 1 2 3 clap. All right.
Oh shit.
All right. Here we go. 1 2 3. Perfect. All right. If everybody's comfortable, ready to go, let's do a little show. Do you have a heart out, by the way?
Frederick?
For me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, I pretty much I have to work, but I can work till late, so no worries about that.
All right. Cool. We'll probably go 1.5 hours to 2 hours, something like that. And
yeah.
All right. Cool. Everybody's in the chat. What's up, everybody? All right.
Hey, everybody.
Here we go. What's up, and welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt. Joining us today is our good friend, Mr. Frederick Duquette. Also, but you will probably know him as, and I'm sorry, Mom, I gotta say this, Fvckrender.
What's up, everybody?
And Mograph is a supplement to our site, mograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other Mograph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects, plugins, render engines, doing business, dang it, taxes, being a contractor, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. You can email us Mograph, info@mograph.com. I'm all thrown today. I must be flustered.
Yeah, dude.
I guess that's the deal. You know,
it's the first time you've ever really messed it up.
Yeah. Let us know what you think about the show. Let us know if you got any comments, questions, concerns, queries, grievances. Let us know what you want to hear about on the show. We really like to have emails from people and get ideas on the types of things that they'd like to hear about because, you know, I mean, we would hope that you would want to hear a show that talks about things that you would want to listen to.
Yeah.
In general.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. Matthew
Ashby in the chat is asking, where'd you get that sweet background, Dave? You should show him the magic.
Yeah, you want to see the magic? It's literally a Photoshop file. So.
Watch.
Ooh. Oh. Yeah, it's just a random photo. The other night we were recording with Mark, Houdini Mark, and I had a little Dallas backdrop because it was on a late night talk show or something like that. So
for those who are sticking around, you'll be able to see that.
Yeah, we're going to show that at the end of the show / play it if you're listening on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have some week wrap-up stuff we wanted to talk about. Number one, we just wanted to give an update on Camp Mograph.
Camp Mograph. Camp Mograph. Yeah, is there more updates? There's no more updates.
No current updates. Yeah.
No current updates yet. We're going to get back into the swing of, planning and stuff like that. We've got a bunch of amazing teachers lined up and a couple of really awesome fireside chatters, but we're just going to tease that, nothing to officially announce yet.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. Tickets go on sale. What is it? April 20th. Yep.
420. So, blaze it.
420. It's a Monday, so make sure you're ready for that.
Is it a Monday or a Tuesday? It's a Monday.
I think it's a Monday.
Okay.
I think so.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So be ready for that.
We'll be in Vegas at NAB, so if you're at NAB, just be ready.
Yeah, and make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter for Camp Mograph so that you can get an email and so you know when that's ready to go. It is 1/20/2020 today, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah.
1/20,
so
4/20/2020. 4/20/2020.
At 4/20 and
so 3 months away. You got 3 months to prepare. So you can go on to campmograph.com, check out the prices for the cabins that we're staying in. A lot of pictures and
figure out what you want ahead of time.
Yeah.
So that you can just hit go on those tickets.
There's going to be a limited number of, some of the cabins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm staying in the Adventure Village.
Ooh.
So so that's going to be fun. And a big shout out to our sponsors, of course. Without them and y'all purchasing the tickets, this couldn't have been done at all. So big shout out to Maxon, of course, the fine makers of Cinema 4D and Video Copilot, Andrew Kramer and team. We love those guys and we appreciate them sponsoring, as well as Otoy. Otoy have always been very kind to us in all the things that we've put on, and we appreciate their support and help in this. The makers of Octane, of course. And then local Portland studio, Minimal Massive. Super excited to have them on board because they're a local studio and stuff like that. So it's very cool to see, them supporting local events and stuff like that. So Portland, Oregon, October 8th through 11th. It's going to be fantastic. For more information, check out campmograph.com.
Cool. Sage is in the chat. Saw you on the Monday meeting this morning. It's good to see him. I think, check this out. Can you see the duck? Can you see my dapper duck? Yeah, my daughter won that for me yesterday.
Oh,
yeah.
Snap.
Yeah, Chris Schmidt would be proud. Anyway,
I'm very, very good at the grabber machines.
Uh-huh.
And in fact, when we were cleaning out our house, my wife decided to donate all the stuff that I had given her from the grabber machines that I won. It was a gigantic 2-foot by 2-foot box of just toys.
You were like
random crap toys.
You were like Toby on The Office. Just spending all that time spending all that time trying to get it. I think the reason that Mographers are good at it because they're good at judging Z depth. I've always said that. You know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Of course, I also go around to the side and make sure that I'm that I'm lined up and everything.
Yeah, we did that yesterday too. We went to one of those big ones, you know, the giant claw machines, and we won a ball like
that cost like $5 a piece.
No, it wasn't bad. It only took 2 tries, and we had a giant ball too. Yeah, we figure out how to do maximum ticket output. You know what has the best payout? You know, we won like 4,000 tickets at Dave & Buster's yesterday.
We'll go to Chuck E. Cheese and we'll do a 1 hour. So you can pay by the hour, and it's unlimited games for 1 hour, right? Mm-hmm. So then what you do is you get that card and you find the one that'll give you the most tickets in the shortest amount of time, you know, and then you just keep on hitting it over and over and over again.
It's good. So it's real good.
Yeah. Of course. What's also stupid is at Chuck E. Cheese, you can buy a ticket for 1 penny. So you could literally just go up there and spend less than trying to actually play the
but
games.
That's not any fun.
That's not fun.
So other things this week, we do have a Houdini tutorial out now. How about that?
Woot woot.
This is actually a sample.
If you're interested in checking out like kind of Mark's like teaching style and stuff like that, this is a really good intro. If you're even like curious about picking up the course or picking up Houdini, you can go check out this one and kind of follow along. Mm-hmm. You know, he shows basically from A to Z how to get from, you know, starting with nothing, throwing a sphere in there like you do. Mm-hmm. Putting down a ground floor and then rendering it out.
It's very basic.
It's just everything that I think it's the perfect introduction, because I've done so many Houdini tutorials in the past, and this one was the one that was like, okay, awesome. I understood a lot of this. Mm-hmm. I'm not scared of Houdini anymore because I know how to put something in there and how to render it. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. And he refers to a couple things that, you know, in there that kind of get you going, and you'll, you know, it's referring to other things in other chapters, obviously, because this is the sample. So if you like that, you can check it out, and, you know, if you're really into it, pick up a copy of the course. But we will be talking about all that later. Again, at the end, we'll be playing that interview. And so that's, also the outtakes video from that, we will have that available online. That'll be playing in that segment as well. We also wanted to mention that we are doing a 2-day Dallas Mograph event.
Yes.
In March. And we really wanted to get that out there and start talking about this, because this is a little mashup. We're going to do a DFW C4D, but the day before, there is going to be the grand opening / 10-year anniversary of Already Been Chewed. And so Barton has a new building.
They're opening. Yeah, he's been renovating a new building that he bought. Mm-hmm. They're going to be moving to this new building, and he's doing the grand opening / 10-year anniversary of Already Been Chewed. So if y'all are interested, come to Dallas. It's going to be March 22nd. Is that right,
March 22nd, and then 23rd.
The 23rd will be our DFW C4D meetup.
Yeah. I think, let me see if I could find his deal here. I guess Gmail is making noises now. I'm going to have to mute Gmail. Like, they have these little ding noises and stuff when people are online and all of that.
If you have Hangout, it does.
Yeah.
Hangouts does that?
Yeah, it's like, okay. Yeah, I'm muting this site. I don't know why they need to do that. All right, but he's got a bunch of information on here, and here's the thing that we're trying to stress, because it's this 2-day event. You've got DFW is huge. It's huge. So you might not know where to go, where to stay. You might book a hotel and then realize you're like super far away, you know, or something like that. So we will be sending out in the newsletter all the information. We'll also be putting it on our events page, mograph.com/events. so you can get all the details. But what they have actually done on their Eventbrite page is they've put links to places that you could stay. There's a highway called George Bush. It's a tollway, and there's all these in this little section. There's
George
all
Bush,
these
the
little
elder, not George Bush the younger.
And there's all these hotels right there. And if you stay in that little strip of hotels, which are pretty affordable, you'll be like halfway between both events. So he put that information up there. Again, we will be posting all of this information. We don't have the venue locked in for ours. We just know that it's going to be the 23rd on a Monday. We know EJ will be
have
there.
A couple of presenters and stuff.
Yeah, EJ's going to be there for sure for these events. Paul and Matthias, I believe, may be coming down. Who else? And I talked to Noseman this morning. We had a little Skype sesh, and I think he might be coming out. So
Mark Cernosa is coming down.
Yeah, Mark's coming too. Here's the thing, and Barton, really wanted to stress this, that this is like a fly-in event. This isn't just like a Dallas event or whatever. Yeah, this is kind of hard to see, but this is an event where you'll want to fly in. He's going to have a DJ at this event and everything. He did this whole thing about things to do, go see the grassy knoll. So if you've always wanted to go to Texas and try out barbecue and all the things, this is the event to do it, because it's 2 days, and it is at the end of South by Southwest. So if you are going down to Interactive or something like that, this kind of tops it off. There's also going to be an event the weekend before down in Austin that Brian Beam is going to get me more information on. We'll post that as well. So if you're in Austin, it's the weekend before, at the beginning.
Okay.
So you could come down and do a whole week in Dallas or in Texas.
Why not?
Why not? So just wanted to put that out there, just so you can kind of think about that if you're thinking about going to some Mograph events. So anyway, let's get to the fun stuff. Let's get to know Fvckrender a little bit more.
Yes.
First of all, now you told me, and you didn't give me the details, because I like to save these details till when we're actually in the show. You said you had a very unique and weird, rough schooling, and I'm interested to hear what that's about.
Yeah. So basically, so where to start it? So there's so many things that happen. So basically, when I started school, I'm from a small city near Montreal, so it's called Magog. We have maybe 30,000 people that live there, maybe more. I'm not quite sure. When I started at school, I lost my mom when I was 10 years old, and she was taking care of not teaching me, but making sure I was doing my homework and stuff like this. When I lost her, I had my dad, but my dad wasn't that type of person. So anyway, so when I started school, for me, it was very difficult because at the first year of college, they put me in special classes. And all my friend was in sports. I don't know what's in English, but in French it's sport études. So it's when you study, kind of, I guess. So, and all of my friends were there. So, and I was in the special classes with people that was 25 years old, and people with very big difficulties in learning and everything, which I was I didn't add it was hard for me to learn at school and to stay focused and everything. But yeah, so when they put me in these classes, I lost literally all my friends, and I lost pretty much everything. And when you're 14 years old and you don't have any friends in high school, that's that can be rough. Yeah. So I was always trying to show people I wasn't meant to be in these class, but I was actually meant to be in these class because I had difficulty learning, and when people are young, people are so can be really rude and everything. And so I wasn't getting bullied very much, but I wasn't just appreciated. So, and when you're young, it's it's weird, and especially being in classes like with people that have difficulties and everything. It's really hard on your self confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, at like 13 years old, I knew that school wasn't made for me. Like I literally wanted to quit school at like 14 years old. I was like, I'm quitting this shit. This doesn't make sense. Like I knew that school didn't make sense with me. And like I was seeing all the people in my classes that was having difficulties. They are all smart people and everything. It's just like school is so fucked up how it's made that we think that these people that are in difficulties in school, we people think that they are like they're not smart or not, they will never do anything. I remember one of my teacher told me like, you'll like she took me like outside of the class and she told me like, I need to tell you this, but like you're never gonna accomplish anything in your life. You're like,
Jeez.
you're not present. And she literally said, you're not present. You don't listen to people. You don't. And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, am I never gonna do something in my life because I'm not good at school? And I spoke about that to my dad when I was younger, and my dad always been like the kind of person that didn't think school was too necessary. So I was very lucky to have him like not pressuring me to finish school and like be a fucking like medical or like
Mm-hmm.
lawyer or anything. So that was good, but like yeah, it was pretty hard. So at 16 years old, they put me in a separate school that was like it was called La Relance. So it was like, if you go there, like, dude, you're a mess, man. If you go in that school, you're gonna be like, I don't know, there's no jobs that you won't get any jobs if you go there. But anyway, so I end up like just quitting school at 16 years old. I tried to quit school. I came back at 17 years old. At 17, I failed at La Relance, and I just said like, it just doesn't make sense for me. I quit. I came back at 18 years old, and it didn't work again. I just quit. I moved to Montreal, which is an hour from Magog, and I tried to learn. I tried to go to school again, and it didn't work out again. So it was like 5 failures at school. I was like, dude,
Jeez.
like what's happening with me? So yeah, and I just gave up school, and I was like I should have just listened to myself when I was 14 years old and be like, do whatever you want, like, because I don't know, for some people school makes sense, but for me from early age it never made sense. And I don't know, to whoever listened to me, don't take my path as like the good path, because like it that's, I think school is important. It just for sometimes if you have like difficulties, just like know that it's not necessarily you the problem, but like how school is made. Um, because I'm a very fast learner. If I learn from myself, I learn very fast. But if I learn from someone else, it's very hard for me to focus, and like I have to move. Like I have to do so many things at the same time. My brain is like constantly spinning as well. So it was pretty hard for me to go to school. Anyway, that was like I'm like shortening it out, because
Yeah.
it's like it's so big, like everything that I had like in school and everything. But
Well,
that's
like Einstein said, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it's going to go its whole
Right.
life thinking that it's stupid. You know, that's
Yeah.
a great
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
a great quote, because school isn't necessarily for everybody.
No, exactly.
Yeah. How did you get to what you're doing now from that point, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started 3D at 17 years old. And it was because my friend from Magog was working on like stuff like Iron Man, and like he worked on like big movies. His name is Dan God. He lives in Vancouver now. And I was like so impressed by what he was doing, and I was like, oh shit, I want to do this. Like I want to do 3D stuff. And and he got me to download Maya, and he sent me like tutorials. I did 2 days. I quit. I was like, this is way too hard for me. I just said, that's not made for me. I'm not good enough to do like 3D stuff. So I quit 3D after like a week of doing 3D maybe, and I started again at 25 years old. 25 years old. But before then, I was like, when I quit school to go to Montreal, I just started to work in a restaurant, and I was pretty much like skateboarding and working as a waiter in restaurant. I was quite making money for a young age, because back then, especially in Montreal, like I could make like 1,200 Canadian per week in working in a restaurant, which was pretty well, it was pretty good. So I was like going out and just like working 60 hours a week in the restaurant, like 40, 60 hours a week. And
if it's like the restaurant industry, you go, you make a bunch of money, and then you party all night, and then you rinse and repeat, you know?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Like I was like, and I started out, and all that time I was trying to like learn new things, to like find a new path, because I at some point I was sure I was doing restoration, like restaurant work for the rest of my life, which was perfect. I would have opened a restaurant maybe or something, but I wanted something more. So I started doing cycling. I did some cycling race. I did like big race, like I did Montreal to Boston in like 3 days or 4 days, something like this. And I was really into bikes. I started like to learn a lot of different things to find my own voice and to find my path. But there is nothing that like I was hooked on, and I was very like, at some point I was working like 60 hours in a restaurant, and I was very sad of like where I was in my life. Like I had no money, I had like some debt. It was like very sketchy at this point. And I was like, and also I had like a bike injury, so I displaced 2 vertebrae. So all my left side of my body was completely numb, and it's still numb from my end is still numb till today's, and it's been like 6 years of this. But yeah, I was very depressed. Like I was like, okay, so I can't like do anything anymore because I'm hurt. And so I was like, what should I learn to like? I was like, I'm gonna learn something on my computer because I can't move or I can do anything. So I was like, oh shit, I used to like be interested in doing 3Ds, and I just Googled that. I started with Blender. I saw like Blender gurus, stuff, people like this. And I was like,
you made the donut.
Yeah. I saw that one guy. I won't say his name because he was very rude with me. But like he's a Blender dude, and I was like, dude, like I love your work, man. Like, can you like teach me? Can you help me? And he literally said, if you don't have the talent, you're never gonna make it. I was like, what? What the fuck is that? Like that doesn't make sense. It's not like I'm a true believer that talent doesn't exist. I think, I mean, we can like battle on this, but like I think talent is just a matter of time. And my theory is like, when you're young, there's always one person that is so good at drawing, and people are like, oh, you're so talented, but we were outside playing like soccer, basketball, and this person was drawing all the time while we were doing this. So we never see this person drawing every minute of his like time. Yeah. So that's like how I see talents. And even that, when he told me that, I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. And so I just started doing more tutorials, and like I was very bad at doing 3D. Like it was nasty. And I started Cinema 4D because I saw Odas, Philip Odas. He was doing daily renders, and I was very into like environmental stuff, and he was like doing landscape and everything. I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. And I found Beeple, and I found like so many other artists, like I think it was Joseph that was making daily render back then. I was like, oh, like there's like some possibility for me to do stuff. And I just started like doing tutorials, and like I was literally working 40 and 50 hours a week in a restaurant, And after my shift, my girlfriend was working in a bar right next to the restaurant I was working. I was bringing my laptop, my big chunky MacBook Pro with my mouse, my big mouse that was shooting laser almost. And I was at the bar drinking, and like I was getting drunk like almost every night, working on my computer, doing like 3D stuff. It was a good time. So I was working like every time that I had, I was dedicating on learning 3D at that time. So yeah, that's pretty much like how
it's great to see. That's a super good success story.
Yeah.
Because like it's like it just goes to show, like, no matter education level or whatever, you know, and I'm going to attribute it to you being an artist. You know, some of us artists aren't the best at, you know, focus and stuff like that, you know. But I've seen the amount of work that you produce, and I see how much you pour yourself into your art. I think
that means a lot.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And I also applied 3 times in like design school and like motion design school, and they all turned me down. I was so sad, but I'm happy that they didn't get me in. But
yeah, who's laughing now?
Yeah.
I mean, I could have learned. There's a lot of things that I'm sad that I don't know. Like there's like UV mapping and like just general modeling. My modeling is terrible. Right. Like, but it's all something that I see so many great artists, like they do crazy models, and I'm like, why I can't do this? Like it's you know, I learned something different.
Nobody knows UV mapping.
Yeah, no one knows. If you're using cinema, you don't know UV.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Every time I have to use UV mapping, I use like 3D code, which is like I don't. Yeah,
3D code's great.
What do you use mainly? What are your?
But you have been heard.
Right. Yeah. No. What are your main pieces of software that you're using right now in Render Engine and stuff?
Yeah, I use Cinema 4D and Octane, of course, like every daily artist render out there. But yeah, pretty much this. I use Oculus Medium to do sculpting and modeling sometimes.
Yeah.
So like all my crystals, all my flowers and stuff like this, I try to make as much possible in Oculus Medium. I tweak them in Cinema 4D sometime or ZBrush. But that's pretty much it. I don't like using too much plugins. I find that very distractive.
Yeah.
But I'll use like X particles. But yeah.
Do you do any sort of retopologizing when you take your stuff from Oculus? Because I did it a long time ago, tried it out, but it just seemed like the amount of polygons were very high, and or do you just take them as is?
Yeah, I take him as is because like I used to retopologize. Do you say that? Retopologize?
Yeah.
With that jizz at the end? Yeah.
Retopologize?
Okay.
Yeah.
Retopologize. Okay. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm so scared of like messing up my models and having it to show. So I'd rather having higher poly because I don't work in like game industry or something.
Yeah.
So I can afford that render time. It's all good.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I guess the process might be easier than when I first tried it, but they have an easy export system and all that.
Oh yeah, it's very good, and you can like decimate your model directly in Oculus Medium, which is nice. They just add that like almost a year ago, couple months.
Isn't it Adobe Medium now?
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
buy
I think
Oculus
it's gonna be something like this. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it's all good. Like they, at the same time, if I had like a business like this and like Adobe would like buy it at some point, I feel like, of course they can do some harm, but they can also do some good stuff, I guess. Yeah, I like to think a positive way, but
yeah.
I've seen so many people complaining. I was like, how can I think about that in a good way? But yeah.
So as far as your work goes, do you I guess you put a lot of work out there. Do you get most of your, like, where does your income come from? Do people see your work and contact you? Is that mainly where
Yeah.
it comes from?
Yeah. So I do like mostly visuals for shows. I do a lot. Like this year, I did a lot of advertising, like for brands.
Mm-hmm.
So many projects that I never showed that I will never show to.
Yeah.
But generally, like they just hit me up on Instagram and they ask me to do some work. Um, and yeah, I mean, I have a manager now. It's been like 2 years I'm with her. It's H Plus Creative. They are based in LA, which helped me a lot, like getting the price right and like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
how to deal with clients and everything, and having like something to help you with that. It's so important because when I was alone, like I was charging nothing. Like I was making no money, and like I was charging literally nothing for like crazy hours of work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, having her by my side like this, it's really helpful for sure. But yeah, it's mostly like through Instagram, and I'm very proud and happy to say that I never really have to look out for work,
Mm-hmm.
because I had like a good like income from Instagram directly, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
How
like
many
I sell
followers do you have
prints, and
on Instagram?
I think I'm at 380K,
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
something like that. Yeah,
that's
I
awesome.
did like yeah I did I was like 110K, and I started to do face filters,
Oh
and
yeah.
it blew me up at like I went from 110K to 460K
Wow.
followers, and now that like they changed something in the face filters, they people doesn't need to follow me anymore to use my face filters, so so
Oh,
many people unfollowed me, so I keep like having like I lose like maybe 2K followers per week, which is fine. I really I don't give a shit about like
yeah.
how many followers I have to yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's important for my work, but like I'm not very active on like I try to be as much active as possible, but I try to put this aside because it's not good for your mental health. It's like
Yeah.
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 yeah,
For sure.
and yeah, and like face filter, just like if someone listening to us right now and like he's like, oh, I'm gonna do face filters to gain followers and everything, but it's the worst thing you can do because it just kills your engagement. I used to be like that, and engagement with brands is like super important. So especially with Instagram, like sometimes brands will contact me like to do an Instagram post, and the amount of engagement have an effect on how much you're getting paid. And I used to
Mm-hmm.
be like at 15% engagement before, and I went from 15 to 1.8% of
Oh,
engagement.
Mm-hmm.
geez.
So now like there's a lot of brands that doesn't even want to work with me just because of this. So
Right.
yeah, just
Huh.
think two times before doing face filters. I wasn't aware. I was just doing face filters just because I thought it was fun and everything. But
Yeah.
yeah,
What are you using to do that?
yeah. Software is a Spark AR, which is
Oh
like a
yeah.
Facebook
Mhm.
software. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very sick. Like I really love doing face filters and everything. But it just it killed the vibe so much for me, and like the expectation of clients to doing face filters are so high and the limitation is so low, so
Gotcha.
I just literally just stopped doing them.
Were you doing a lot for clients and stuff?
Yeah, I did like couple good gigs of like Spark AR
Mm-hmm.
project. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Interesting.
as far as having a manager goes, like if somebody hits you up, how does that process work? Do you just forward it on to them or say contact
Yeah.
this person or?
Yeah, so basically I respond to the email and I add my like Anna is my manager, so I just add her in the email and she take care of like all the non-creative part of the project.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So and it's really helpful because it helps me like just focus on the creative aspect of my work,
That's
and I don't
nice.
have to worry about like getting paid in time, and like and with her I'm paid in time every time. Like there's
Yeah.
like it's really rare that like
Dave, we need it. We need an agent.
Yeah. Right.
oh yeah, no, for real, it's helping like, and she's very good like putting like pressure on like people, and like
Mhm.
I really yeah I like her a lot. for sure. And yeah, and I just started like I have like a new representation in Montreal too for physical installation, because I've been doing physical installation for the past 4 years. So like
What is
stage
that?
designs. So I do like stage designs.
Oh.
So yeah, it's more physical. Like it
Oh,
could be like art
installations. I'm
installation.
sorry,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
misunderstood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
Um,
cool. That's super cool.
yeah, so I try to like, because I did like a lot of VJing. I travel a lot with like doing VJ stuff. So I decided to do more like physical installation.
Mhm.
And when you do that, though, you're designing it, but is somebody else building it, or are you working on the building as well? Or
Yeah, I used to build them with people, but now I realize that my force is more in designing them and having good people to build them, because I built some stuff that wasn't really that wasn't really allowed in like public
Structurally
space.
sound.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
no. So like I'm not like, no. There's talented people to do this way more better than me.
Now, what about the other? Tell us about the VJ stuff, like the setup
Yeah.
and the software and all of that.
Yeah. So I use like Resolume. I have like a MIDI controller that is like this big. I have like a pretty compact setup. Um, but yeah, I just do my visuals and on like big stage. That's pretty much it. It's pretty sick. Honestly,
Mhm.
like VJing is very fun. It's very hard on the body, especially when you travel with an artist. Like I've been touring for some times with couple artists, and it's quite hard on your body, but at the same time, it's really fun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I've been there on the travel thing, traveling
Yeah, no,
on the
it's
road.
I
Uh-huh.
prefer staying home now.
Yeah. Now, when you're doing that stuff, so this is for other people's music. Is it are they asking you to do certain things, or are you bringing your own material?
Yeah, so sometimes I'll VJ their own visuals, which is something that I really don't like doing. And I understand it's part of the thing, but I see myself more as a VJ artist than a commercial VJ. So
Mhm.
like if people hire me, it's to VJ my own visuals. So they want like Fvckrender
I
to
see.
do their visuals during the show.
I see.
Mhm.
So and that's what I'm focusing more on. But yeah, sometimes I'll VJ other people's stuff, but like nowadays I don't do this anymore, because I don't need that money, I don't need to do like this
Yeah.
gig.
Mhm.
So
Was that stuff very spontaneous, like, or once you were on the road and you kind of locked in a set, did you keep it that way, or were you changing it all the time?
oh, I was changing all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even sometimes I had like like some artists were like, okay, do this like this like this like this, and I was just even following that. I was just like doing my own things, and it always turned out correctly. So I never got like, I don't know how to say in English, like
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
What about your VJ pack? Because I saw you have a VJ pack on
Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah, exactly. It's been a while. I wanted to release like a VJ pack, and I was like, okay, I need to create like a full VJ pack. But at the same time, this week I realized that I have like over 900 clips, like VJ clips in my bank. I have maybe
Mhm.
like 200, 300 that are good. So I said like, okay, I'm just gonna use them as VJ clips for my VJ pack, and I started to sell them, and it went pretty good actually. I was very surprised, like on the
Mhm.
response of this. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up right now here. Yeah, these are great. I could zoom in a little bit too. You can see them a little bit better. So all Cinema 4D Octane or
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's some stuff made in Oculus Medium that I transferred, and some After Effect too.
Wow, beautiful.
Um, yeah, it was like there's so many like different stuff.
Are they just the
Like,
clips or the actual projects?
no, just the clips. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm really thinking about releasing like project files and stuff like this.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
That's
it's
pretty.
I just put like everything that is more like popular, so I can attract
Uh-huh.
more audience for sure.
mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And that's on Gumroad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll link to that in the show notes as well.
Nice, thank you.
Something you mentioned as well was dealing with anxiety. I think there's a lot of people who listen to the show are, you know, in motion graphics and they deal with that kind of thing. We talked to Casey a lot about that, you know, mental health, anxiety and all that. And you said you've dealt with that as well. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, for sure. Like I've been dealing with anxiety for the past, like, I don't know, since I'm like literally pretty much since I lost my mom. I always had like the fear of death. That's like something that is anchored in me. Like if my girlfriend goes out and she doesn't answer to my text, she's dead.
Right.
If
I understand
if
that.
I have a pain in my chest, I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah.
If I'm very like and especially I lost my dad like 6 months ago.
Jeez.
From the worst fucking thing possible, it's a heart attack. So I was like, fuck. So and I was, but I've always like studied like mental health and like anxiety and like how to manage it and like everything, because when I was younger, at some point I was thinking I was having like a real mental issue. Like I don't know if you ever did like anxiety, like panic attack, but you get like you have like the feel of doom. You feel like you're gonna go crazy and like you're gonna do something crazy, but that the thing is, this is so scary. Like it's very scary to live this when you're like 14 years old and you know that your brain is evolving. So you're like, oh, so my brain is evolving into this. I'm like, I'm gonna be this my whole life. And when I was 14 years old, I was like, I'm not gonna live until 21 like this. Like that doesn't make sense. So there was like two options. One option that I would never consider because I love life too much, and the other option was like learn about mental health and learn about like not hijacking your brain, but like because brain is made by connection. So you pretty much decide what you want to experience and what you want to live, and it's something so strong and so easy to say but so hard to do. So what I did, I was just like reading books about like anxiety and like how to change like connection in your brain to like basically just creating habits, like good habits. That's pretty much like what I did. And so I was pretty good. I stopped having anxiety from like 18 years old to 26 years old. And when I had my bike injury, all my left side was numb. So I started to be very depressed and anxious at that time, because I was sure I was gonna die of heart attack when my arm was numb. And I was trying to get better in shape and everything, because I had like a full year that I didn't work out, and I came from like, oh, sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'll just take him out.
I'll say I'll add to that while he's doing that. I kind of there we go. I kind of dealt with the same thing as well, where it was an early, like my first anxiety or panic attack or whatever you call it was I don't know, I was like 23 years old and I didn't know what was going on, but the same thing, went down the road of realizing like I could control this a little, and then at some point though I had pulmonary embolism and blood clots in my lungs, and went to the hospital, and it was the same thing. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna, it was a serious thing. But again, all of that, I have a lot of health anxiety, and all that anxiety came back, and I had to learn to deal with that over again. So,
there's a really good documentary. Well, it's half documentary, half, I don't know, nonfiction or whatever, or fiction, where it talks about like how your brain works and rewiring your brain and stuff. It's called What the Bleep Do We Know?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, it was in like 2004 or something when it came out. It's really, really good. It talks a lot about how your brain is wired a certain way, and you keep on doing the same things and get into the same habits and stuff, and your body gets used to those chemicals and stuff, and the only way to stop doing some of the like negative things that you do to yourself is to completely rewire it and make new connections in your brain to where your body will be used to something else, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like why people get so jazzed over, you know, going and working out, because they're rewiring their brain to work out over and over, and that becomes the new addiction, you know?
Yeah, but the thing is with working out, for me, working out even today, like especially today, because like I used to work out a lot. Like I came from like a cyclist background, and when I had like my injury, my left arm was numb, so I thought I was having a heart attack at the gym. I went straight to the hospital. They were like, no, you just had an anxiety attack. You have like two vertebrae that are displaced. I was like, okay, but so I quit. I mostly quit like working out, and I gained some weight for real. And at some point, like couple years ago, I was like, okay, no, I need to like take back my control and everything. But like I was getting very good, and now my dad passed away of heart attack. So now, even still today, because it's been only 5 months, but like since this happened, I had like a major like depression, and especially I moved from Montreal to Vancouver. I know nobody here. I have like literally no friends. All my friends are in Montreal. I have like no interest of living here because like I don't know, I don't like it as much as I love Montreal. So it was like a very dark time in the past 5 months, and I put my work on the side. I was like, I wasn't even wanted to work anymore. I did a burnout like doing 3D, and I was like getting anxious, getting to work, and I was like, at some point I just wanted to go back in the restaurant and quit 3D and like shut down my Instagram and everything. So, but anyways, so I just like I just rewired my brain to like, so I was going to my desk every day like 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, just to rewire the brain to like, okay, it's a good place. It's not like you're not having because I associated this workplace as like depression and anxiety. So I just rewired that. And but to go back with my dad and my health anxiety, so every time that I was going to the gym after my dad passed away, I was having this cramp ear constantly. And I was thinking, so I was working out, and sometimes it was so hard, and I was so anxious that I had to go back home. So what happens is like, you go from home, go to the gym, you have anxiety, you go back home. You do this for 2 months. What's gonna happen? Your home is gonna be your safe place. You're never gonna be able to go out your home. So after that, like after 2 months, I was scared of driving alone for more than 15 minutes. So this was like, so I was like,
I get that. I get that, especially working from home, you know?
Yeah.
So I drive a Jeep, and Jeeps aren't the safest cars. They're very scary. They have very, you know, it has no roof. So I have this.
It looks dope.
Yeah, they do. They're great cars. They're fun cars, you know. But I have this real big fear about driving on the freeway for too long, you know.
Yeah.
And like it happens every time I have to drive somewhere long. It's like this is where I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die on the road. I'm gonna die in a car accident.
So crazy,
you know,
to think like that.
Because especially working from home, you get used to this safe space.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, I'm safe here. Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, and so I was going to the gym and I was getting anxious every time, but I was still going to the gym every day because I didn't want my brain to like win over me. And so now even today, I can't even drive from my home to downtown Vancouver because I get too anxious. So my friend, you know, Raw and Rendered, like Joey, so he lives in Vancouver, and we always have to meet up. And he's probably gonna watch this, but every time that I can't do it, it's because I don't feel good. So sorry, Joey. But yeah, but so what I did, so I just kept doing this. And something I was doing in the past that really helped me is journaling and meditation. But journaling, like writing every day, it's really strong for your mental health and for building your future. But we can get to this part and like later if we have time, because I'm very strong on that. I'll making your dream come true, kind of like
Mhm.
type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what I did, I just went to the gym straight. I read that, I listened to that audiobook, the Dare Response, and
Mhm.
this audiobook is the thing that has changed my whole way of seeing anxiety, and I discovered it like 4 months ago, maybe.
What's it called again?
The Dare Response.
Air response.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a very simple book, but it's just like it's so well made. So I just like I kept going to the gym, and I was like, I had like a big anxiety attack, and I told myself I'm not going home. I'm gonna push even harder.
Mhm.
I pushed harder. I made my heart like big cramp. I was like, I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying. I kept working out. Kept like finishing my workout, and I kept doing this every day since till today. And yesterday I went to the gym, and I didn't add any anxiety. I was pretty good.
Interesting.
So it's crazy how just by creating the habit of like pushing through your anxiety, because sometimes the worst thing you can do is stopping everything because you have anxiety, because after that you fear of the fear, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
And once you have the fear of the fear, you're fucked. Like that's
Yeah.
there's not a lot of thing you can do except rewiring your brain and like pushing through this anxiety. But yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it can be a vicious cycle. You can feel like,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
when it's coming on, you're more upset about the fact that it's coming on than what
Uh-huh.
actually
Oh,
triggered
yeah,
it in the
yeah.
first place.
Yeah, I was going to hike in Vancouver, and I was reading how many steps there were in that hike, how many, like, I was like
Yeah.
crazy about like, oh shit, I might, okay. So I remember that hike I took like ashwagandha and L-theanine just to calm my body down. I was like, I'm gonna die today, but that's fine. Like I'm done with it. I just assume that I'm gonna die. Like it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Just have that constant
Yeah.
like I'm gonna
Yeah,
die today. This is
it's
what I
fine.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But now I changed my thinking about like, instead of thinking I'm gonna die today, I'm rewiring my brain that I'm gonna live long and healthy. Like,
Mhm.
and this is so silly to do, but it helps a lot to write like, I'm gonna live long, I'm gonna be healthy, I'm gonna live long.
Mhm.
It's very silly to do, but actually it helped me so much. But yeah.
Tell us more about the
And
journaling stuff. I'm curious to see, like,
yeah.
how do you go
Yeah.
about it?
So yeah, I discovered the power of journaling maybe 5 years ago. I was watching like a podcast. I don't remember. It was on YouTube, and that guy like was a very successful entrepreneur, and it was like he was talking about journaling, and I was starting doing 3D at that time. I was like, okay, I'll just give it a shot. So started writing every day what my day was and what my goal was, and like I was writing my goal every day, like literally writing my goals. And for a fact, most of my goals that I wrote, and I still have the book that I can show you guys, and all my goals are there, and all the client work I did was in that book. So I was like, oh shit. And it's nothing magical. It's just like writing down every day just keep you on track and working towards what you really want to do, instead of like procrastinating and like not
Mhm.
getting things done and everything. And for me, when I discovered that after a year, I was addicted to journaling because it helped me so much. And I was like, okay, so now I used it as like for 3D. Can I use it for my L? Can I use it for my finance? Can I use it for
Mm-hmm.
business that I want to start? Can I use it for other things than just like 3D stuff? And I started to journal my finance and everything. And for a matter of fact, my finance went from like very bad to very good. Like it's like, yes. And like, even like just like health wise, like nutrition wise, I'm way healthier now since I write down what I eat more, and like what I do and what I eat, what I actually eat, you know.
It
Mhm.
makes you
So
more
yeah.
aware. Do
Yeah,
you
exactly.
write? Is it like a free flow of your thought, or do you do it like a list? You know, like for somebody who
Yeah, so
sits
I
down
have,
with a blank page, you know, sometimes it's very daunting to sit there like this this is a blank page. I don't know what to do with it. You know, how do you start?
Yeah, so I have 3 books. There's one on my nightstand. It's the grateful book. So I lay down every night 5 things that I'm grateful for every day, things that I'm happy with. So maybe it could be a client, it could be making a podcast with you guys. It can be my girlfriend. She did something, or like she's learning 3D right now, and that makes me so proud. So I'm gonna write that down. She's actually really good, really impressive. But anyway, so I have this, and I have like I lay down 5 to 10 things that I'm grateful for in general in my life. So not just today. So this is every night. I have 2 other journal. One is finance journal, and one is like just general thoughts. So today I went to the gym. I was very anxious, but that's fine. I just went through it, and I didn't go home. I finished my workout and blah blah. I'm happy. I ate like a ramen soup today. It was very good. It's very stupid. It's very silly, but it's just like for me to write that down. I know if like that week I was good, and if next week I'm not good, I can just read back what I did that was like good change, that why this week was good and this week wasn't really good, you know.
Yeah, it also like if you're ending the day doing that, recounting what you think has just been super positive, it helps you stay in like this positive mind frame, you know, and being able to, you go to sleep feeling happy, you know, and comfortable and stuff, and you wake up feeling the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm a very spiritual person, and I think it's because like I'm a very sensitive person. Like if like I if someone else like is sad or something, I feel it like 10 times, probably 100 times worse than other people will. And I think people that have anxiety are a very sensitive person. And yeah, for me, it's very important to like just do these small things like meditation, like waking up early, and like just like general stuff, like just to keep my health like on track, you know.
I think that there's sometimes that there are days that you can be a little anxious or on edge and you don't know why, and sometimes that could be helpful to identify what those things are. You know, you'll go about your day and you'll be like, why am I in a bad mood? Well, why is today not feeling right? Why am I upset? Why am I cranky? Why am I just super anxious or upset? Like, why do I feel this way? And you'll be like, oh, well, that's just because, you know, somebody made a comment on my Twitter that they didn't like my whatever, you know, or something like that.
So stupid. It can be the smallest thing. I know it's crazy. Like,
And then sometimes you don't even realize that that's why you're in the mood that you are. And if you're writing things down, it might help. You know, there's that. It's like the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. You know.
Yeah.
I haven't read that one, but I actually bought it, but I haven't had time to read it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you could remarket this and just call it The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fvckrender. You could. Yeah, this is what people need, though. I think people really can have a hard time with it, but don't know who to talk to, or don't realize even that, you know, people see your work on Instagram. They don't know all that. You know, they don't know.
No, I try to be I try to talk about it as much as I can. If you see like some of my posts have like long texts about my anxiety, and all of my renders, like you see, if you go on my Instagram, like you'll see it's all about like mindfulness and like gratefulness. It's all like it really drives my art, especially nowadays.
Oh, did we lose him?
And I swore to myself, I swore to myself when I was younger that I would figure that out, like how to manage anxiety, and I was going to help people managing their anxiety, because there's nobody that should live. I mean, everybody that have anxiety will live with anxiety their whole life, but everybody should be able to manage it and understand that anxiety is normal and it's not dangerous for you, and you're not gonna go crazy and do something stupid,
Right.
whatever the stupid thing is in your brain. So yeah. But yeah, in my 3D, I try to talk about as much as I can. I don't want to annoy too many people because I know like Instagram, there's like all sort of people. But yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Halt? Which is like that's something that I heard one time from somebody. It was someplace random, like somebody I just happened to talk to in a store or something. It was not too long after I had my first anxiety issue, and it was HALT. When there's a combination of things that will intensify your anxiety, which is hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. And that will intensify it, and to look out for those things. But also
hunger, anger, loneliness, and tiredness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because those things just amplify.
Is fucking dangerous.
Yeah. And when you're on a diet, like, at least 3 of these.
Unless you're on keto, you can eat as much beef as you want, bacon, avocado.
Yeah.
I guess my other question is, in this journaling, do you do a lot of what would you call it? Predictive or just, positive writing about the future?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do like straight prediction, like not even prediction. I do like, like in 10 years I will have that much in my bank account, and in like 5 months I'll be working with that person, and I go straight to the point, and I put it even higher than what I can actually achieve. But yeah, I'm just like, that's pretty much what I do. Like it's I go straight to the point. Like I don't like, maybe I will do.
Right.
No, I will do this, like, because otherwise there's no point of journaling. Like it's like reading like a fiction book that will become reality,
Right. A fiction that turns nonfiction.
It's like it's a written vision board.
Like an episode of The Simpsons, right?
Right.
Because they predict
exactly.
everything.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta ask the question. The question that's on everyone's mind. Tell me about the name.
Oh.
Fvckrender. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said earlier, like I used to have a big MacBook Pro, and I was using Fvckrender.
Okay.
And it was taking literally like 15 minutes to see a frame, and I wasn't even good at that time. I don't think I'm good now. I'm evolving, but anyway. But so it was so frustrating, and when I started to do the daily project, I had to find a name, and I didn't want to put my own name out there, so I just like, I hate rendering, so let's just say Fvckrender. And that time you couldn't use FUCK, so I did a V. But now actually you can use FUCK, and there's some people there's like a page called Fvckrender Farm, Fvckrender Fam.
Yeah.
I'm not even linked to that. They just like use my name, I guess, and like, I don't know. Anyway, they've been fighting with me for like 4 years now. But yeah,
that's funny.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But I like the use of the V. I think the V is excellent. Yeah. I think if it had just been a U, like you would not have been as successful as the V. The V really throws it off. Yeah.
There's clients that like, oh, we really like your work, but we can't put your name. And I'm like, yeah, I just don't want to work with you guys. Sorry. if only this don't allow you to work with me, I don't see the reason. Like,
yeah,
I know it's gonna be a shit project anyway. Like,
right?
if you're that like stubborn, is it stubborn you say? Like,
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, if you're blocked like this just because of the name, like I don't want to see your creative process or like your mood boards. It's gonna, I don't know.
Yeah.
Funny.
And you do photography too, right?
Yeah, I love photography. Yeah, I started to do photography maybe 2 years ago just for fun, but since I'm in Vancouver, I'm really more active, and I've been traveling way more this year because I used to be very poor, and now I have like a legit finance. I just bought like a Sony A7R Mark III, and I
Mhm.
have like a big telephoto lens. And there, we have shitloads of eagles here, so I love like
Yeah.
shooting eagles. Like we have like water puppy, like a not seals,
Uh,
but like we have seals, but it's
Water
like
puppy.
is it
yeah, I
otter?
call them
Otters?
water dogs, kind of. Yeah, otter.
Uh,
Yeah, otter.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we have this. I just love like shooting this and like landscapes and stuff, and it's just so inspiring to go out there and like instead of being inspired by like Instagram or like
Mhm.
Pinterest, you just like go out there in nature and like just be inspired by what's surrounding you because yeah, that's the essence of it.
Mhm.
Now, are you posting
That's
that?
cool.
Are you posting a lot of that too?
Yeah, I have like a photography account called Fred Duquette. Um, it's like underscore Fred Duquette, but yeah, it's not very like it's just for me to like put something out there and just
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
No face filters on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
not yet.
Yeah. And you're
Yeah.
also, and I feel like there are quite a few people in this industry into this. You're into stocks and finance stuff too. You
Yeah,
know.
I've always been interested in like finance and stuff since I'm very young because I'm like my dad was working in insurance and I think the aspect of finance came from him because when my mom left um, when she passed away, my dad went in a big depression and he was a very successful insurance broker kind of
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
insurance like he had like a very good insurance company, so we went like from like we had a good amount of money when we were young, and we went from like this to almost zero because he had like a big depression. He was like a social drinker. He was drinking a lot with his friend and
Mhm.
was going more out, which is I totally respect because I lost my mom, but he lost like my mom too. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so 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 he spent a lot of money, but he came back. We did a lot of travel. We he bought a Winnebago and we did all Canada and all United States in 2 years. So
That's
that was
cool.
very sick. And after that, he was like very struggling to get back like money. He was working in a small insurance company, but he didn't. He really hated that job. So and I saw him going from this to building an even more successful business than he had before, and the business that he had just before he passed away. He was about to sell the business. He never had the chance, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, I think seeing this aspect of finance in my life, like starting from like nothing to like something,
Mhm.
really helped me like understanding what money was and how powerful it is to have like a financial support and like being able to pay for yourself, like being able if I want to buy like this microphone, being able to buy it like two
Right.
years ago I remember 2 years ago it was Christmas and my girlfriend wanted to buy a Christmas tree and it was like $50 and
Yeah.
I wasn't able to buy it because it was too expensive.
Yeah.
I had minus $600 in my bank account that time.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, and at some point I was like, I need to change this. So I started to read about stocks, read about finance, and like I really I put myself out there. I tried to make more money and like I tried to find more money because 3D is not wasn't my only income. So I always try to find different way to make money. I decided to go into stocks. I was using Wealthsimple. I did quite some good investment with that, but now I'm at a point where I want to focus on my 3D work, and I have a broker at TD, Canada
Mhm.
Trust, which is very basic, but like I have like most of my placements are done with him, and I have like a smaller account that I do for like trading myself just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think finance is it's not something that you learn at school, and it's so important. Like how you do your taxes and how you
Yeah.
do everything like this.
Mhm.
Like I've been struggling with this when I started doing 3D. But now I think reading about it, it's the only way you can learn about it. Like reading and like failing. Like I remember when I started doing 3D, I was owing money to the government, and I wasn't able to pay them.
Mm-hmm.
And this was so scary. They blocked all my accounts and everything, and I was, I'm done. Like I'm bankrupt. I'm doing bankruptcy or something. But I said no. I'm just gonna work even harder. I paid everything off, and like I started from zero again, and I swore to myself that I would be better with money. And the most important thing is like get rid of your debt first. Like that was like the main thing for me, is like just get rid of all the money you owe, and after that you'll save some money for you. But yeah.
Do you have like do you have like a stock thing on a screen going at all times, like while you're working, or?
Yeah, most of the time, yes. I'd say it depends on the week, to be honest. Sometimes it's just like, it depends. It has to be a stock, especially now that I have my bigger account with like financial planner. Like I don't do it as much as I used to, but if there's like a stock that I really want to trade, I'm gonna play around. Like I'm gonna do like day trading just for fun. I did that with Beyond Meat, and it was very successful.
Yeah.
And I sold everything before it crashed. I bought at like $67, and I sold at like 130 or something. I don't remember exactly.
Wow.
But,
Nice.
And I had like a good amount of shares, so that was very nice. And it was so stressful to do this, and I sold everything, and I swore to myself, I'm not touching these stocks anymore. And for a matter of fact, it's like crashed down and everything. But yeah, there's so many like, but I failed so many times with stocks. That was like one of the success one kind of. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like watching and reading about finance and stocks for sure. It's important.
Yeah. Yeah, I should be doing more of that myself, and I'm not. Maybe this will be my year.
We've got me and my wife, we have a whole separate account that comes out of her paycheck, and I tell the people to be really aggressive with it, but then I've got I invested like $250 in AMD.
Just
I bought it
around.
at 12.
Yeah.
And now it's at 50,
It's
as
crazy,
of today.
I know.
Yeah. So I'm up like 300% since I bought it, and I'm just gonna leave it in there. It can crash.
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly. But it's not, AMD is not gonna crash for a while, so we're good.
Yeah. I think that one's gonna go up to $100. Very easily. I think it will.
What are some good resources for people who want to get started in that?
I mean, there's some really good book. I can just look it up. I have some on my Kindle. I have one that really helped me. It's just like super. Yeah, Day Trading Made Easy was very good. There was one that was very quick. Where it is? Of course, like classics like Wealthy Barber. Wealthy Barber was very helpful, just like in general finance and like how to save money and like use money for your taxes and stuff like this. The Intelligent Investor was really helpful. But yeah, there's one, I'm not sure if it's audiobook, maybe.
Yeah, I'm finding these.
I don't see it. Maybe I have another account.
I'll put some links to these.
No, that wasn't this one. Yeah, I'll try to find it and send it to you guys, but I don't remember. Maybe it's on my Kindle downstairs. Yeah,
send those to me. I'll put them in the show notes.
Yeah,
as well. We want to get to some Mograph recommends and hear some of your influences, but first we're gonna do a little segment called Beeple's People.
Sweet. I gotta go to the bathroom. Be right back.
All right, so everybody take out your Beeple viewer of choice. I'm using Twitter. And if you go to Beeple's account, which is @Beeple if you're on Twitter, I think it's like Beeple-crap or something like that if you're on Instagram. But we're going to go to January 15th, Year of Our Lord 2020. This one.
If you don't mind, I'll use the bathroom as well.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna
I'll be back
go
really
solo here. It's funny because I have to use the restroom, and so I'll just wait for them to get back. All right. So, this one here. Oh, I can hear myself through the headphones. This one here is called Last Look. This is January 15th, and I'll bring it up here so you can see it. This is hard to do. This is hard to do a solo right here. So, I really like this one because of the composition. This is like really different. The whole samurai sword thing. I don't know where these models came from or anything. He's got a really great like resource for these models of people. So this one in particular, I just really like the way that there's the contrast between the back of this cave, whatever it is, and the woman here. Man, this is really tough to do. So, hi, you're
by
back.
yourself?
Yeah, I'm by myself. He also accidentally set his headphones down by the microphone.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm sure we'll be
Got
back
that
in a
sweet
second.
echo.
Yeah. So I was talking about the composition in this.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking the second I saw it. Was the composition was beautiful.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah, the composition is just so great in this one, and it's just very different. Like it's not
the contrast
feel as-
between the lights and the darks are just great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not it's just not the typical Beeple, you know. And
I love it. I think it's great. Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any story. I mean, there could be a story. This could be the beginning of I don't know. It's
maybe someone's traveling to this world and this person is
it's Mulan in the Beepleverse.
Right. Right. No, I mean, it's like when in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, when Joan of Arc is praying, you know, at the bottom of the stairs and they show up and she starts walking towards them and, you know, goes with them. That's what this is, kind of, you know.
Yeah.
There's another traveler coming to check out that world and that person's curious about.
This one was just really good. I just like it really caught my eye. You know, it's a lot different than Buzz Lightyear nipples. So, you know, I just, you know, it was great. And he did another similar one. I think it's the next one, January 16th. It's called Deep Sea Dragon. This also just has this great feel to it. You know, looks like he's been doing stuff with fire. He did something shooting fire, like a.
He did some similar ones with Game of Thrones when that was you know, in its 8th season and stuff. He did a lot of dragons.
Yeah, I like this. He's on this fire kick. There's something with fire that he just posted.
It was that
Koala's Revenge.
Koala. Yeah,
I'm assuming this is a reference to the fires.
Well, yeah, because on Instagram. He put it on his story, and you could swipe up to donate to the.
Oh, okay, nice.
Stuff. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And then, back here, the other one was Sentient Industry, which is what day is that? January 17th. Super cool. You can see a lot of the classic Beeple models down here at the bottom, the little spherical thing and all of that. But it's interesting because it's like housing and slums mixed with a factory. You know, it's all just kind of one big piece. Those are probably the workers down at the bottom, you know. That was a nice one too. I'm also trying to figure out what this is behind it, because it's not a planet.
It could be,
or maybe
that could be a moon. They could be
a moon. Big moon.
You know.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So,
good stuff.
Fred, have you worked with you've worked with Beeple before, right? Have you worked with him before? Or no?
No.
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought
I one time I was assigned to do like some Imagine Dragon stuff. But yeah, I I really respect his art, and I don't really like playing with other people's scene files, you know.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to have the responsibility of like messing that up. So yeah,
Yeah.
if someone hires me, I prefer they hire me for what I do. So
Yeah.
but no, other than that, we never had the opportunity yet to try to work with.
Cool. Well, let's move on to Mograph recommends, because I think it's going to be very interesting to hear what some of your influences are in certain areas. So the first thing that is on the list is your favorite movie.
Yeah. So The Rise of Skywalker was good.
Man, it was good.
So good. And like I have like so many Star Wars Legos.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a big collection of Star Wars Legos. I just love them so much. But yeah, this was very good. Like you'll find me very boring, but I feel like I work so much and I have so little time to watch movies. So when I watch movies, it has to be like a brain killer. Like it has to be like something very smooth for me just to chill and relax.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've watched like I watched some like shit movies, like very bad movies lately. But yeah, I like Rise of Skywalker was very good. But I can't even tell what like good movies I've watched recently. I watched one movie. It was like the American Made on Netflix.
I haven't heard of that one.
I haven't seen that. No.
No.
American Made was very good. It's like it's not like that, but it feels like Catch Me If You Can, kind of like the old vibe type of thing.
Yeah.
It felt like this, but it's not the same story or anything. It's just like a commercial airline pilot that does like delivery and stuff. This was good. But yeah, it's like I'm very boring in terms of like movies, because when I go to see movie, I usually I take the worst movie. I don't know why. Like it has to be very dumb, or like any movie with like Kevin Hart's or stuff like this. Like I love like even Dwayne Johnson. I really love Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Shape of Water was a very good.
Oh, that was a great
movie.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. My favorite movie was Aquaman.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. No, but I watched it, but it wasn't. I didn't really like it. Yeah, it pretty much it. Like Aquaman was very good. I really like that. It's. I think it's considered old movie now, since they released like 70 movies per minute.
I know.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy. I feel like movies back then were like, I don't know. There's something missing sometimes in movies, I feel. Like you see, like I don't like any like of the Deadpool movie, and
Really?
I know. Yeah, I don't know why. I can't like I can't watch this. Like I feel like I really love Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds. I really love him, but like I don't know. Like I never got hooked to this.
He's Canadian. I thought you guys all supported each other.
He's from Vancouver.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I think is it Alberta or Vancouver?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker was very good, though. I'm tired of all the haters who are saying that it was like just a terrible movie. EJ, I'm looking at you, but it was like, and I went back and watched. I saw the movie, and then the very next day I watched both the episode 7 and 8. You know, and it was a fantastic trilogy. I thought it was great.
It's very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have a theory of people that doesn't like the new Star Wars movies. It's like, so if you feel concerned, feel concerned. If you don't feel concerned, don't feel concerned. But like, I feel some people that hate the newest movies, they're like the people that don't really know Star Wars, but they want to look like they know Star Wars, kind of. You know? So like, oh no, I don't like this one because of this, and this. Like, it's Star Wars. Like, come on, dude. Like, even if it's not good, it's gonna be good. Like, the whole story of Star Wars is so nice. It's so well built, and of course, like some people can like explain it better than others, and like, but I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I really liked it.
So like the original trilogy, you know, like I felt like I loved that there was the confrontation, like the inner confrontation with Luke, you know, and trying to tell Vader that he still sees the good in him and stuff like that, you know. And I love how that same theme resonated in this third trilogy, you know, and you didn't get that in the prequels, you know. You just get Hayden Christensen whining about everything, you know. And if you go back and look at it, it does not hold up today, you know. The prequels just like the all the green screen stuff, it looks like the first Toy Story movie, you know, you're watching nowadays, because it's just it doesn't look as good, you know. I don't know. I can't stand the prequels. I think they're awful. But this new trilogy I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think they did a great job.
And to my opinion, I'm very happy that Disney put their nose in that, because there's nothing that makes me more happy than having more of Star Wars. So like just Mandalorian was a fantastic story, and like now they're gonna release the Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, so all this, it's just like I don't think this could have been very possible without the help of like someone big like Disney. And to me, I'm just like grateful that they put their nose inside that, and they're giving us the chance to live more than what we live in the past with Star Wars. So it's pretty dope.
Yeah. See, Star Wars, the original. So me personally, I'm much more of a Star Trek fan.
Yeah,
than
me
I am
too.
A Star Wars fan, because I love the social implications and the social aspects, and like, you know, all that part. Like I love thinking, you know. And I feel like, you know, Star Wars or Star Trek has always done that, and Star Wars is just like good versus evil, you know. But I feel like the third one kind of like hinted on that a little bit, you know, internal struggles and stuff like that. I don't know. It was great. Someone's mowing.
I apologize. They are mowing the lawn that is completely dead for absolutely no reason. Okay. Oh, whatever.
But yeah, I feel like I don't even remember what I was saying.
Well, okay. Tell me about this. This should be interesting because of your VJing. What about your favorite music?
Favorite music? Yeah, I mostly listen to all type of music. Like I don't like I love like I can love like Drake. Like I can love like Clairo, which is an amazing singer. I love. I'd say what do I listen to? It's crazy nowadays because I feel like with Spotify we don't remember what we're listening to, because we don't have to put the CD of an artist inside, you know.
Yeah.
So
and you never know what album it's off of.
Yeah.
Because you always
exactly. That's crazy. But I'd say like I love Reggie Snow. It's really good. I think he's from Toronto. I love like Frank Ocean for sure. Big fan of Flying Lotus. I've worked with not with Flying Lotus directly, but like with the studio that did their visuals like a couple of years ago. That was like one of my favorite gigs I had. I love Yeji. She's from Toronto. She's like a kind of deep house artist. She's very good. Kate Renada, of course, because I'm from Montreal. So I think as a Montrealer, we have to support Montrealers, because there's not a lot of Montrealers that goes international. It's no, it's not the Montreal mentality to do big things, unfortunately. But yeah.
What about TV shows? Are you gonna watch that new Picard show?
What's that? So no, good. I don't know.
Oh yeah. So did you watch a lot of Next Generation Star Trek?
No, not even. No, I
Oh,
should start that, right?
See,
Yeah.
you should get into Star Trek. You'll realize Star Trek is better than Star Wars.
I really love the movies, like Star Trek. The Star Trek movies, I really love that. I think they for me they have two different purposes. I think Star Wars are more like easygoing, and I think that's why I like Star Wars, because it's like it's very easy to listen to. But yeah, I really love the Star Trek movie, but I know more about Star Wars than Star Trek, but I should get into Star Trek for sure. So what's that series? That new series?
It's the Picard one.
Yeah, it's about Captain Picard in, nowadays after retirement, I guess. Not too much is known about it, but
I think they already did the first episode.
what? Showed the first episode? Did they?
The first episode.
Oh, I didn't know it was out yet.
I'm gonna wait until the whole season is out, and then I'm going to binge it on a 1 month trial or a 10-day trial of CBS. Yeah,
that's how you do it.
That's how I did Discovery. Discovery season 1.
Just don't accidentally get the year subscription on a trial,
right? Because
then if you forget, then you're really in trouble. Yeah. So what TV shows do you like?
So yeah, I don't put much time into watching TV. So the only time I'll watch it's on my laptop before sleeping. So I have pretty much like, if I'm good, like 45 minutes, an hour of like screen time before bed of watching stuff, and it's gonna be like The Office.
Yeah.
Or like even How I Met Your Mother, Friends.
Yeah.
Pretty much like these series.
It's just so relaxing,
Yeah, exactly.
and just being able to watch something stupid and funny, Exactly. It's a perfect relaxer for the night. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Other than that, like if I'm alone and I happen to watch something, I'm gonna watch like Dragon's Dance and like Shark Tank, stuff like this.
Yeah. Funny.
Now, we were out the other night, and I want to say it was Ryan Talbot, because he's here in Dallas now. And it might have been him. It might have been somebody else. They were talking about The Office and putting on The Office at night when you go to sleep. So it's like it's like TV show white noise. You're just like it's like another world that you just throw yourself into to go to bed. I don't know.
Yeah. Especially when you wake up at 2 a.m. because Michael is screaming.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that could be. No, God.
Quite often.
Yeah.
We've been rewatching.
No.
Amy's never seen the past couple seasons, the last 2 seasons.
Oh yeah.
So we've been going through it. We're on season 9 now, and it's just Andy is terrible.
He's awful. He's awful. But then they do go through a section where he's not on the show for a little bit because
right. But like he's off doing the boat thing,
so
which is
stupid.
So dumb.
Like it's
so dumb.
Yeah. But the thing about it is,
No, go ahead.
I was just saying the thing about it is, if you do get to the end and you watch the last episode, it makes you so sad that you have to immediately start over.
Right.
It's like,
the
okay,
last
it's back.
episode was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
whole season,
yeah,
it's like, I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything, but like,
I mean, the show's been out forever. If anyone
doesn't
know what happened.
But there's still so many people that haven't watched it. I'm like, dude, it's so good. And like, my girlfriend didn't like The Office at first, and she was like, no, it's so weird and it's so stupid. And now it's like her favorite TV show. She's like, she knows everything about it, and Michael is very important.
My wife and I have been listening to Office Ladies.
Yeah.
The podcast. It's with Jenna Fisher and Angela, whatever. I don't know her last name. But they basically go through each episode and they'll watch each episode and they'll talk about it, like some of the behind the scenes stuff. It's and answer some viewer questions and stuff.
Yeah, it's really
very good. It's a very good show. So it's neat because you watch this and then you want to go back and watch the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love The Office.
All right. What's next on the list? Let's see. Podcasts. What podcasts do you like?
Yeah. I'm gonna like listen to. I don't. I use like I mostly listen to audiobook more than like podcast. But if I listen to like podcast, it's gonna be like I like Lewis Howes. I think he's nice. He has like a very calm voice, which is nice. It's a good background um, ambience. But I'm mostly listening to like health finance podcast. But I don't have like any name that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go like Joe Rogan. I'm like
Right.
I'm going to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I'm not a. I used to hate Joe Rogan. I kind of start to like him a little bit more because like I have like a plant-based diet. I don't like to use the word vegan because I think it's a very bad word to use nowadays because there is like some vegans are like extremes and they do like stupid shit like they're gonna fuck up a restaurant because they sell meat and stuff like
Right.
that. I don't think that's the right way. If you want to help people eat less meat, that's not the right way to do it. You're just gonna make it worse because humans' egos have like if you don't tell me to do something, I'll do it even more. So
Right.
anyway, and they did like did you guys watch the movie on Netflix, the documentary Game Changer?
I don't think so.
I don't
Okay.
think so.
So you guys have to watch this. It's about like plant-based diet and but it's like it's all made with scientific facts. And Joe Rogan did with Chris Chris
Paul.
I don't remember. No, wait.
Oh.
It's Chris something. Chris Fazer.
Okay.
Joe Rogan. Okay, so the guy is Chris Kresser. So he's like we don't really know what he does. He's like in nutrition, but it's very weird. So Joe Rogan and him did a debunk of the movie. So they were like, okay, so plant-based diet is not actually good for you. It's bad, and they did like a very good debunk. Like if you watch this, you're like, oh shit, plant-based diet is very sketchy for you. It's not good. But what I liked is Joe Rogan invited James Wilkes, who's the creator of Game Changer, to debate on Chris Kresser's facts and scientific facts that Chris Kresser when he bashed the movie. And what's interesting is there's Joe Rogan, Chris Kresser that is the anti-vegan guy, and James Wilkes, which is the Game Changer, which is a plant-based MMA fighter. And you just have James Wilkes fucking crushing Chris Ed's like with scientific facts, and you just have like Chris Kresser is just like yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. The whole time he's like, oh yeah, you were right. You were right. For like 3 hours 42 minutes, you just have like this could be on Pornhub and like James Wilkes. Anyway, you know where I'm going with that title. But yeah, it's that was very interesting, and that's why I like Joe Rogan now because he's able to admit when he's wrong. So for me, this is like the most important skill set that someone can have is like he realized that his facts weren't right, and he admitted that a plant-based diet was actually healthy. So yeah, pretty good. But you have to watch Game Changer. It's really interesting. And if you can watch the debunk with Chris Kresser and Joe Rogan, like this is a really have both sides of views on this. And after that, you watch Joe Rogan with James Wilkes and Chris Kresser. So it's a lot of hours, but it works all the time.
Now I know you're not big on too many plugins. I don't use plugins that often, but when I do, when you do, what do you go to besides Octane?
Yeah, it would be X Particles, Forester sometimes. The new Mega Scans quick cell bridge is pretty dope. I don't know if it's considered a plugins,
Yeah.
since it's more like a pipeline, but this is really strong. But yeah, do you guys have any plugins that I should look into it?
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm not. I don't use that many that often either. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Hello?
Yeah. Maybe like when we do. I mean, our own plugin, of course. But I'm just saying. You know. But no, I mean, I usually like to keep it pretty raw. I mean, there are the usuals. There's X particles and all of that. There's nothing really out of the ordinary that I can even think of, really. But all right, so let's do the next one here, which is headphones.
Yeah. I recently bought these Bose 700.
Mm-hmm.
Are those the newest
and
ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
How do you like them?
actually I don't like them.
Oh no.
Okay.
Noise canceling,
Mm-hmm.
that makes me feel so bad. That makes me
Yeah.
feel so weird.
Yep.
And I have like a pair of Audio Technica, which is with wire, and I love them so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like them, but I bought them not for me, but for my girlfriend. Because she's working right next to me, and I'm moving a lot when I work, and I make a lot of noise.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I bought them so she could work in peace and learn 3D by herself in peace.
That's fun.
Yeah. Now, what about your favorite app? Your go-to muscle memory, always go-to app on your phone?
Yeah, would be first thing in the morning. I check Well Simple Trade to see how like it's going, because I live in the West Coast, so it starts at 6 a.m. But I
Right.
don't
Yeah.
wake up at 6 a.m. no more.
Right.
So yeah, I check that out. I'll go check my email, so Gmail. I use Instagram for sure. It depends if I'm on my phone or my iPad. But like that's pretty much like my go-to application I use. I don't play any video games. I'm kind of
Yeah.
boring with that.
Mhm.
Actually I used to play a lot of video games, and I was doing Major League when I was younger. But when I developed my anxiety, it was during that time I was playing video games. So my brain associate video games with anxiety, so I can't
Oh.
play any video
Makes
games no
sense.
more.
Gotcha.
So I just have to rewire my brain, but it's really hard with this one. I don't know why. But yeah, I'd like to use Twitter more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Twitter sucks. There's just a bunch of angry people on
I-
Twitter.
Yeah. I don't really use Facebook. I don't really like using Facebook. What I use like Google Chrome all the time to like
Mhm.
search stuff. But there's
Yeah.
no like. Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
Well Simple Trade is like my go-to every morning,
Yeah.
and Instagram for sure.
Cool.
Well, the hard one, the most difficult one for most people, is your favorite life hack.
Yeah. Journaling.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
good.
journaling
So
is
easy
the
for you.
most-
Yeah.
It's the most powerful tool that someone can have, is to write down their goals and write down their feeling. It's so powerful. And I wish more people were doing this, especially people that have like the sense of like not going where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
This can really help you, guide you for sure. But yeah, that would be my answer for this.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
Good choice.
Well, I think we're gonna wrap up. We really appreciate you being on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
It was a very different show.
Yeah.
Like,
Nice,
you know,
yeah.
I think talking about the anxiety and the stuff
Mhm.
like that, I think it was good. It was very helpful. I mean, I hope we
Nice.
helped someone, you know,
Yeah.
but like,
That
yeah,
would be
it's
the
something that
goals, yeah.
and hearing your background and like how successful you've been, you know, with having such a tough background, you know, I think it's very inspirational. So thank you so much for being on the show. And,
Thank you guys for having me.
Talking about that, because it's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's great to hear.
Yeah. It's really important for me now that, especially now that I've built a bigger audience, I really want to focus on this, because I wish I had like someone that could help me when I was younger, just to reassure me that it's normal to have anxiety. And
right.
I'm not going crazy, or
you
know, I'm not gonna die from a heart attack, you know.
Right.
But yeah.
Cool. And if people want to find you online, I think everybody pretty much knows where to go.
Yeah.
And what to type in. Fvckrender. So yeah. Cool.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Like, as I said before, I have been a big fan of you guys for a while, and
thanks, man.
Especially I met you guys during the NAB in LA, and it was so surreal for me to be there, because I'm always in front of my computer and I see everybody doing their own things, and I've been watching the NAB for years, and I was like, I wish I could go there at some point in my life, and I was there by accident, and it was so nice to finally meet all of you guys and meet all the amazing artists I met. It was a very nice moment.
That was a good podcast. That was a really fun podcast.
Yeah.
There was like 25 people on that podcast.
I know.
That was great. Yeah.
My heartbeat was like pumping when I came in. I was telling, because there was like Smika, she was like, yeah, come. And I was like, no, I can do this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's funny.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here.
Oh.
We're going to say goodbye. We do have the segment coming up here after this, which is Mark on the show. So we're looking forward to that. Make sure you rate us on iTunes, leave a review. You can also subscribe on your podcatcher of choice. And subscribe to our newsletter. We got a lot of interesting stuff coming up. You can check that out. All the information on the new course and some of the events and things like that. Say you've been there, done that, got the T-shirt with the Mograph logo tee, Paul Bab, Feel the Bab 2020 shirt. All the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders. The Render Things T-shirt, hoodie, long sleeve tee, and then of course the That Render is Fire shirt, which you can only wear ironically. So
I didn't write that. Dave wrote that, by the way.
I'm gonna get that Houdini class, by the way. It seems really nice. It's something I need to learn.
Oh, the Houdini class?
Oh cool. Yeah, that's my next step.
Cool.
Dude, it's such a good course. It's such a good course. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
You got me sold the other day.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And we'll be talking to you soon. And Matt, I'll talk to you later too.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yep.
All right.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
It's just us now, everybody. Just for a minute. Now we're going to go to the thing. See y'all later. What's up, and welcome to a Mograph Live special. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt, and joining us today is Mr. Mark Fancher, Houdini Mark himself.
Yo.
So we are doing a little late night special here. We're doing a little extra bonus, if you would, because we would like to sit down and talk to you about this new course, maybe answer some questions, so show some videos, and even at the end, we're going to show a little outtakes video. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. I've been sitting here editing 40 hours worth of material. I'm bound to see some outtakes and funny things happen. So we got that there. So for those of you who haven't seen it yet, we're going to go ahead and play this promo for the course first so that everybody can see what we're talking about. So I'll go ahead and bring that up, real professional like. Right. Here we go. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
I'm going to start this whole thing off with 3 bold words. Houdini is easy. I am here to tell you that you are in the right place. Stay tuned. Do some particle simulations, some fluid simulations, just all the simulations. Let's just run this again. For all of you who are like me, who love computers and graphics and animation, you got this! An introduction to Houdini for motion designers and Cinema 4D artists looking to expand their skills. My apologies for the lame recording. I'm making this up as I go. You really do need to know what this stuff is to do the cool things. Sooner or later, your brain is going to start making connections. You came, you conquered, you saw. And congratulations for making it this far. Why didn't I know this existed? Cheers. I'm proud of you. I'm a little bit emotional now, I'm not gonna lie. Stop being afraid of Houdini. Without further ado, let's let the learning begin.
All right.
Yay.
So are you glad that's over now? Are you glad you're done recording and all the things?
Oh man, yeah. Well, it was like one of those things where you get into it and then you're doing it and you just kind of get into a routine where you like kind of recording a little bit here and there every night. Some nights you finish, some nights you fail and have to like do it all over again the next day, and you just kind of get in that churn. And then it was really bizarre when we were all done. I was like, I don't even know what to do with my life right now. Like, I'm you know, it was like while I was waiting for the edits to start coming through, I was just like, oh yeah, I have video games, I guess.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, man. I finished and I was like, oh, well, things are going to slow down now, but they haven't slowed down. But that's fine.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot more coming. So let's address first, I guess, some of the chat that's coming in. If anyone has a question or anything, feel free to put it in there. Number one, Matthew Ashby said, I tried to get my boss to buy me the course today, and she said I had to do the basic on Skillshare first. Tough but fair. Now, I don't know. Now, I guess it depends on your level of 3D-ness that you know already. But if you already know a 3D program or something like Cinema 4D, you know, there's a lot of intro in this. So you've got the two different parts. You got the first part, which is intro stuff. The second part is the more advanced stuff, the cool stuff, if you would. What do you think? Do you have a message for the boss, just so we can
here
help?
I don't know.
So we can help persuade.
The first part, if you're not, what Mark says, Houdini's easy, you know, I totally get it. Like that whole first part, it's like most people when they open Houdini for the first or second or third or fourth time, they open it up, they play around on the shelf, they realize that they have no idea what they're doing, and they close it. And they're like, I'll try this again in a week.
Right.
And then they get to it 6 months later.
And they forget what they learned the first time.
Right, exactly. Right. So you got to go back and relearn everything. But if you go through at least the whole first section, I mean, even the we just released. It's one of the lessons. Like it's the very first lesson. Like getting up, moving around, what everything is, and going from beginning to end. You know, rendering a shiny sphere, like you do. You know, but from beginning to end, you'll feel much more comfortable in it. Because when I started out in Houdini originally, like trying it out, I would do a tutorial and they would teach you, you know, like, okay, let's do some fracture stuff. Okay, awesome. You created this awesome sim. All right, well, where do I take it from there? What do I do now? You know, I want to put textures on these. I want to render it, you know, but they never go into that. So you got to go find a whole nother thing that doesn't necessarily correlate with what you're doing, you know, but being able to see just from beginning to end, initially right off the bat, you feel a million times more comfortable in it just initially. And then you go through the whole first part one and it's like, okay, I'm very comfortable in this program.
And that's the thing. We just released just tonight a tutorial, and it's the full version of that one that you're talking about, where it takes you from beginning to end in about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, and shows you the ropes, shows you the interface, and you render a shiny sphere at the end. So you can get that on our channel. That's on the course page now as well, so you can check that out. But what I would say, like Matthew says in the chat here, I'm a C4D nerd already. That is exactly what this is specifically designed for, is people who are in Cinema 4D already. So it takes you from the beginning. Maybe check that out, or maybe show your boss that tutorial we just came out with, because it doesn't get too much more basic than that. I'll tell you that. That's for true. So,
and I know, like, after you get through that first section, we do like ramp into it. You know, once you get into the advanced, it does get pretty advanced for a beginner's tutorial, but that's because we're laying this big old foundation for you. I wouldn't want to throw you into chapter or the second part of it without having like any sort of basis as to what to get into. I don't think that would be super handy for people. Now, if you do know a little bit more about Houdini before starting this course, then by all means, skip around. Do like, the mocap dancer or whatever it is, whatever project you want to do. But know that like there is this beginning section that will really sort of bring you up to speed with sort of what I tried to jot down all my like things that I learned through watching a bunch of different tutorials, and a lot of tutorials that are like have been taken down. Like they don't have tutorials like ones that I was pulling little ideas from, because Houdini gets updated and then they more or less become obsolete because it was like a Houdini 11 tutorial and like
I was checking out some Houdini 10 tutorials. I was like, ooh, square nodes, that's weird.
And the white background. Do you ever see like the white looking interface? It's so ugly.
Matthew says, I guess they already have a account.
He purchased it as well. He's in the chat. What's up, Travis?
What's up, Travis?
The course?
Yeah, tell us what you think. We got a chat note here from Rich Nosworthy, actually, who said, what's up? Picked up the course yesterday, hoping to clear up my bad habits.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Travis says he loves the course. So good. We just got a really great review, too. I'll try and pull that up. Go ahead, Matt.
My buddy Will hit me up on Facebook Messenger. Houdini is easy. And he hit me up today and he's like, this Houdini training is excellent. I've been learning, working in Houdini for a little over a year, coming from C4D. I'm only about 2 hours in, but this is exactly what I needed to connect the dots and use with Cinema 4D.
Which Will is that?
Will Giuliani.
He just posted in the Houdini artists.
Oh, yeah. He said he was going to do that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Luckily, the Pizza Hut pizza isn't the icon anymore. But it says, I just bought this training this morning. I was a little hesitant at first because I've been learning Houdini for a little over a year. I'm mainly a C4D user. I was afraid the training would be mostly the things I already knew. On the contrary, this is exactly what I needed. I called myself an advanced beginner to Houdini. I know where everything is. I'm comfortable in the interface. I'm even learning some Vex, but there are a lot of gaps in my knowledge base that prevent me from opening Houdini when I have a quick turnaround on a project. I've only been on through a few hours of training today, and there are 40 in total, and it's been amazingly helpful. I'll be working with this for several months. Mark is an excellent teacher. I highly recommend this if you are a Houdini beginner. So appreciate that. Much appreciated. And that's the thing, you got to be able to jump in, and it takes so long as somebody who maybe is really good at Cinema 4D. It takes so long to get into Houdini and have it do something when you're like in a rush to get a project. You're like, this would be great for Houdini. The problem is I don't know enough about Houdini yet to like do it, and I got a client waiting for me, so I'm just gonna have to do it the old way.
Yeah. Matthew Ashby, he asked, is there a minimum level of Houdini needed to follow the course? You can do it in any version. We supply files. So the apprentice version doesn't allow you to export Alembic files. And so we actually provide the Alembic files as well for each time there is an Alembic that needs to go out. Yeah. So you should be able to follow along. Also, any of the Redshift stuff, if you've got Redshift in C4D, that's fine, because I don't know if we do a lot of Redshift stuff.
I think there's only one Redshift
Houdini,
thing
right?
in Houdini, but it's showing you the difference between what built in and Redshift.
We do cover a little bit of like the mantra render and the Redshift rendering in Houdini, but then also a lot of the workflow is with getting particles out. We'll we'll mostly use Redshift proxies to get them out. And we provided the Redshift proxies and VDBs and Alembic files where we could. If there was an issue, like we were using some Mixamo data, we weren't able to provide the actual exported data because it's Adobe's
theirs.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But we link to all the assets that you would need to be able to follow along. That one, unfortunately, would be a little bit tricky for us to provide. So we provided as much as we could, as long as we had license to it, and we had license to most of those lessons. So
there was also a statue, the fracturing statue that you saw. That one we also couldn't provide, but we tell you where to get it. And I was following along. I 100% of the course. I'm proud to say.
Nice.
Mark that one off. And then, I was able to just follow along, go online and get it. Let's see. Travis asked, what version of Houdini should he purchase? If you're looking to like actually produce stuff, Travis, I mean, I know you'd be good with the indie version, the only limitations, there aren't any real limitations on the indie version, except for you can only render 4K. What else?
Because you really want to render more than 4K.
Right.
Everyone.
And you're allowed to put it on 2 computers, I believe, 2 workstations. And then what else? Oh, you can't be making more than $100,000 a year.
Right.
And this is the confusing part. Whether it's specifically using Houdini or not, I'm not sure about that. So yeah, only 4K.
Mark, what's the difference between that and the higher versions?
I believe that the only real difference, it might be that, I can't say for sure and don't quote me on this, but like using distributed simulations where you actually like take a fluid sim and cut it up into pieces and distribute it across a network to get it to like simulate something larger than what one computer could handle.
Oh, that's
I believe that is that's effects only.
Actually,
if I'm not mistaken.
What I really meant to say was, when it comes to the files themselves, I guess, is you can only go one direction. Like you can only go down.
Yeah. So if you have like a Houdini Apprentice file and you give it to somebody with Houdini Indie, it will open on their computer in Houdini Apprentice. So it'll downgrade your license when you open up a file of a version of Houdini that is more limited than the version that you're currently on.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And same with effects. So if I'm at work and I'm like hopping around and I find like an example file that was done in Houdini Indie and I try to open it to see what someone did at work, it downgrades me to Houdini Indie.
That's cool.
That kind of stuff. So you can still open the files. It's just like if you want to be like working in your version of Houdini, you're going to either need to like open up another copy of Houdini and sort of follow along with the file or whatever, because you can't copy paste between them either.
Right.
A stalker Thomas asked on YouTube, can everything applied in Houdini 18, or can this? Well, I'll say it this way: can everything in this be applied to Houdini 18? And you've gone through and actually made some minor revisions that show how to do 17 and 18, but they were very minor, right?
Yeah, there's like a couple things that we've caught along the way. Is like some menus have been changed in Houdini 18. That's mainly when you're trying to build like a new pane tab. They've now put subcategories into the drop-down menu, and so as I go through the course, I'm continuing to like find things that are different about Houdini 18 and the version that we have, which was built off of Houdini 17.5. And so as I get, through this stuff and find more things, we'll be rolling out updates on that. But for right now, Houdini 18 came out with some majorly new features that don't necessarily change the workflow. They just add new workflows. So they added things like USD and like there's Solaris Look Dev, and there's also I can't remember. I thought there's like a new renderer that's coming out, which is Karma, but it's a little bit early for me to at least dive into that. I'm not using any of that stuff in production. I haven't even touched it yet. I think that it's out there and it's really new right now, and it's more or less there so people can start familiarizing themselves with what will be a future standard workflow, but it is not going to be 100% there yet. I don't think.
A couple of the other questions in here, like we've got people asking for samples, so we've got that up now. Somebody was asking about Redshift. I guess the Apprentice version doesn't support Redshift. Is that right?
The Apprentice does not. No.
But
yeah, you cannot install third-party renderers in the Apprentice version, in the free version. So
yeah, it's all a big blur to me now. But no,
and here's the thing. So I was going to mention this when you were talking about 17.5 and 18. When I started going through the course, I started in 18. And then I realized that Redshift hadn't officially been released for 18 yet.
Right.
When I started, and this was a couple weeks ago, and they've only recently released a version of Redshift for, 18. So we wouldn't have been able to even teach it anyway, And
what I told this person about that is the fact that you show how to use both engines, first of all. But the other thing is that, again, like we said earlier, Redshift is only in the in Houdini in like one of them, and plus the one where you show it, so it's really in the Cinema 4D side of things. And that's the other thing. People ask, well, what if I don't have Cinema 4D, or what if I don't have Redshift? Most of the course is, when you go to a chapter, it's a huge chunk of Redshift, and then you'll spend maybe 10 to 20 minutes at the end showing what to do with it next to finish it in Cinema 4D, or to do something in Render Engine, but it's all still applicable to other pieces of software. So it's not like you have to own Cinema 4D. You're going to get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like buying a texture pack, that's based towards Cinema 4D. You're going to get all the image files, that you can use anywhere else. They're not totally based there. But I mean, you'll be able to take all this knowledge. You can, I'm assuming in Maya, you can import Alembic files, and stuff. Yeah. So, most of this, basically all of it should transfer over,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think part of it is like, and this is one of the major things that we had when I was talking with David when we were consulting at the beginning of starting to lay the foundations of this course. It's like, what do we do? Do we do it? Do we just do a course and not worry about rendering at all? Because there's an argument to be made for that. I think the first year that I spent in Houdini, I spent in Apprentice, and I didn't render anything. I was just building setups and learning how the nodes work and stuff like that. But I think there's a whole nother camp of people who say, no, I need to be able to make something that looks cool in order to be excited about what I'm learning. So
I agree. I'll agree with that. Yeah.
It became one of those things where it's like, well, we really do need to kind of construct this in a way that balances that. So we get a little bit of Mantra in there, which is the default render that comes with Houdini. We get a little bit of Redshift in there. We get a little bit of, we do some projects that we don't render at all. And then other ones that we bring into Cinema and just say, hey, this is Cinema. You've got what we just did in Cinema. Now go have fun. You can do whatever you want in terms of rendering, but just more or less laying out those foundations so that people don't feel stuck. Just like, cool, I made an awesome wireframe, and now that's it. That's the end of the story. I'm gonna go move on and build the next cool viewport looking render of the next thing. It's just cool to kind of you got to feather some of that stuff in there. So it's just a mix of sort of just setups versus actually final looking rendered projects.
Oh, this is an interesting question here. Is it not possible to upgrade to Apprentice and then the Apprentice indie file?
Apprentice,
can you do those? Can those be compatible? Yeah.
For Apprentice to Indie, there's an online file converter. So you just upload it to an Orbolt website, and it will upgrade your file to instead of HIP NC to a HIP LC file, and then you just re-download it.
Okay.
To go now from Indie to Effects, that would be a side effects project that you'd basically hit up your salesperson at Side Effects and say, cool, thanks. I just bought Houdini effects. I've got a whole library full of Houdini indie files or apprentice files or whatever that I've been using throughout the years, and I'd like to upgrade them, and they will do that for you. But they're not going to create an online updater because they are mainly adamant about not allowing Houdini effects users and Houdini indie users to work in the same pipeline. And if there's an online upgrader for that, there's going to be people totally abusing that scenario all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That was from REN. Thanks for clarifying for that. I almost called you Adrian and then I stopped myself because I didn't read it well. I need new glasses. So no, that's good to know because I feel like most of the people who do this are going to probably start with the free version and then they're probably just going to move up, one notch.
See, that was me. I started out in Apprentice because I wanted to see if everything would work in Apprentice. Then I was like, you know what? I'll just get indie. It's so cheap,
Mm-hmm.
Like it, and I already owned Redshift. So like, what was it? $270 for a year of Houdini. That's really
like
good. Or $400 for 2 years. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Clack in the chat asked, in the Vellum section, are cloth sims covered? And yes, they are. Mark goes through 3. It's cool. Like he goes through. I really like the way you did this. Anytime you'd start off like a new section, like the cloth stuff, the vellum stuff, or like the RBD fracture, I think you would go through several different like little scenarios. You're like, let's do this. All right, now let's turn these off. Let's duplicate them. Let's try another thing. Where we did 3 different types of cloth simulation, where one where it's twisting, one where it's tearing. Man, the tearing one was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like watching that, I was like, holy cow, this is surprisingly easy.
Yeah.
I saw somebody on the Facebook on the Facebook Houdini group right before we released it trying to do a cloth tear that looked exactly like it. And I was like, oh man, you need this course. But yeah. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
Oh no, it's all good. Yeah, I did try to do like a couple of simple setups that we weren't gonna like take to like full fruition or whatever at the beginning, and that kind of like gives you like a flavor of how like the parameters work and how the different solvers are communicating. And then after that, then we would jump into like a more deep example that we would take and push to like a production level quality thing.
Mm-hmm.
Billy says he just immediately got indie. Thomas, what's up, Thomas? And Matthew's asking, does Houdini need an additional license to use Redshift or another render engine, or can I use the one I already have for Cinema?
Here's the thing.
There's 2 answers to that.
There are 2 answers. It's yes and no.
Yeah.
If you're on the subscription plan from Cinema and you bought the subscription Redshift through the Maxon marketplace or whatever, like the Bundaroo.
The Bundaroo with Cinema.
The Bundaroo with Cinema, it does not work. But if you actually bought Redshift from Redshift's website and you have that license, that version will work with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark, you went over installing Redshift, right? As well?
Yeah, because it's one of those things where I was like, assuming that you have Redshift installed, and then I was like, yeah, they probably really would like to have that laid out because it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I do like that you added the autosave stuff in. Like showing us how to set up autosaves, because it's not a simple just like little click button like it is in Cinema. Like you have to actually go through and edit some text.
Yeah. About when I said Houdini was easy, installing Redshift and turning on autosave, those things are not easy. I concede to that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll keep it open for questions here. But in the meantime, why don't we do the outtakes video? How does that sound?
Yay.
Okay. I'm going to try to do this a different way so I don't play the audio twice while I'm trying to pull it up like before, like a weirdo. So here we go. And I got no audio. Why don't I have any audio, guys? See, I tried so hard and I failed.
You know what, Dave?
Here we go. I got it.
It's
probably something technical. No, I got it. Here we go.
And it's giving me a warning saying that I have 1 day left to renew my Houdini Indie license. So I guess I'm going to have to do that. Take my money, like...
That was
So VDB combined. God, why is my brain not working right now? Awesome. Total crash. And run this one more time. And every time I say one more time, I really mean let's run this like 10 more times. Design where we fill a shoe. We're going to fill another shoe. If I decrease this, you can see that it... You know, it's crazy that this node has changed since I wrote my lesson. I believe it is called Le Transit de René de Chalon. I don't know if I got that right, but pardon my accent or French or what have you. But maybe with maybe with some less smoothing section, maybe with some lower smoothing ERPs, derp keyframes and setting and such not. We've got our pops right here. Excuse me. I have no idea what that's doing. So maybe let's cut this part out. So now when we do it, I'll be right back from this crash. Burp, burp, burp. Derpy, derpy, derp. Derp, derp, derp. That was insane. I just had a brownout. All right, so that... Wait, what the Did I do VDB? Yeah, okay. Cheers. So decreasing that pulse duration to something like 0.1 is going to cause it to frenetically, or I don't even know what the word is. Frantically. Does not scale. It scales. God, okay. Float vector or float. A parameter. God. Oh man. Simulation is done cached. Is it done cached? The simulation is done caching. Triangle fan, and we don't really need great geo for right now, but that's kind of funny. He actually looks like he's sticking out his tongue and has spike eyes and a spike neck. I'm gonna retake that because that sounded stupid. Note to editor. Take 2.
Yeah, that's pretty good. People are asking if it's available online. We'll put this up on the YouTube channel.
Some of those are
in the course.
Actual course. Yeah.
Aren't you glad you're done now?
It's really funny. I actually did have a brownout while I was recording. It like my monitor turned off, but my computer stayed on. Everything in the house clicked. One of my recordings stopped. It was the weirdest thing ever, and I was like, okay, is it still? It was like still recording partially. It was so weird. It was like the weirdest thing ever.
That's funny.
Yeah, what are the stats? How much raw footage was there? 47 hours?
Oh gosh, I don't even know if I ever looked. I don't even know how I can check that.
We ended up with 40 hours, but I'm pretty sure it was like 47 or something.
Yeah, it was something up there.
Yeah.
How many nights did you record?
Yeah.
Oh dear, I don't know. I have a timer that I use to kind of track things, and I haven't looked at it because it was a lot, and I'm like, I don't want to know.
You should do it right now. Do it now.
I have the numbers.
Come on.
Okay, I'll try. Let's see if I can figure it out.
All right, I'll bring this up in the meantime. So if you go to our site, mograph.com/classes, you can get to this. And I'm just going to go down here real quick and talk about some of the chapters because people were asking what's included. And so again, at the beginning, you know, the free one that we just put out, you can check that out and see. It starts to cover the basics. It starts to talk about nodes and things like that. What's that?
Where is that?
The free one?
Yeah.
Oh, the free one was 1B. It's 1B from the course. Yeah,
right.
That's where you go through.
Where can you see it on that page? Sorry.
Oh, you can't see it on that. You see all the chapter together on this page.
Okay. I didn't know if we're gonna sit there or not.
Chapter 3, you start to get doing a little bit of like actual projects while you're learning, you know, fundamentals. 3D part 1 is to me where I really started getting excited about it because you're really getting in there. You're doing that procedural stone wall, and you learn to build that stuff procedurally so that in the end, you could just take that and you could apply that to any piece of geometry or any spline, and it just kind of makes what you made out of that piece, just it's so procedural, it's ridiculous. Then we get into the fun stuff like these fractals. This is the one where you learn attributes, which can be really hard to wrap your brain around. And Mark, I think you did a good job, like really reining this in. You went and did some re-recording to really get this locked in. And so,
yeah, that one was a little bit trickier. Attributes are one of those things. I think it's the most important thing to understand in Houdini. And I've seen it described a lot of ways, and I wanted to try my hand at it. So I'm really hoping that by the time we get through this chapter, you maybe don't like fully understand attributes. What the point is that we need to lay that foundation so that you can like have it all in the back of your head as you move forward into the more advanced lessons, and then those ideas start to sink in more once you start to apply them. That's sort of what my thinking was with it.
Yeah, and even in the last one on this, you kind of go into a little example, and you're like, you can pause and come back to this later if you want, because this might get a little bit over the top for being at the beginning. But it's like follow along or not, if you really want to dig into these attributes more. Then chapter 5, what do we got? I don't know. It's all a big blur now. This is using chops.
Yeah. I loved that chapter. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, you get the little jiggly
chops
thing.
Are really neat.
This is very David Brodeur.
You can do like a jiggle deformer. I think we did something where we recorded audio from the computer and then used it to drive animation. Then you can like filter off the curves to make it like kind of bounce like a little bit more, smoothly. And then we did the cop stuff, which is like you can kind of do like substance designer type things in Houdini. Now, like because Houdini has like a node-based compositor built into it, you can really get creative with kind of using it to read your geometry, and then you can blur it, and then you can turn it back into a depth mat, and we kind of did some stuff like that.
And then chapter 6. Chapter 6 is great because for this Cinema 4D artists, you get to experience a round trip where you start in Cinema, you go to Houdini and do some stuff, you take it back into Cinema and do some finishing. I think that's where people are really going to get excited, because people who are in Cinema 4D, once they get to that point and they realize how to do this workflow, that's really exciting, because that's when you can start like pushing stuff out and using it in your projects.
For sure.
And then chapter 7, this one was really fun, I think, because you showed how to do a lot of little things. That's the thing about this, man. There's all these little tidbits that you put out there, like these little nugs of information that you put in every chapter that are just, it's not necessarily like the main theme of the chapter, but you learn all these things like in chapter 7, when you do dynamics, you show how to do a camera that automatically follows the bulk of these particles by itself with no keyframes.
I straight up ripped this, by the way. I followed along the whole course, and we're working on a project right now where they're like, all right, you have free reign to do whatever, just make sure it's, within this. And I was like, well, I'm taking the one that I already did, and I'm just moving it. Moving the camera.
Hell yeah, man.
There you go.
So
in chapter 8, you did the rigid body dynamics, and you make, this is a very commonly used model. I think I've seen it a couple times recently. It's a free model you can download and like make it explode. If you don't have that model, you show how to do it with someone else or another. No, wait, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the dancing one. But you can apply this to anything, and then bring in another model and try and explode that, because it's procedural, with minimal change.
You go over glue constraints as well in that one.
Yes.
So.
Chapter 9, this is where you spread the word.
This is vellum stuff. So this is where we go over the cloth simulations. It's cool. He goes over like three separate ways of doing cloth. You've got the twisting and the tearing. There was one other one I can't remember.
I think we were doing like cloth stacking and then like abstract attraction forces in the air that like, you know, you kind of just like target forces to get things to like hover or follow where you want them to go. We also did this. We also did the mocap dancer with the rigids attached to the hairs. So there's like these elastic strands that connect to the wall.
Yeah, this is the cover one right here. I put that for the end because I couldn't resist not showing the vellum. The floam thing, and then you did the one with the shoe with the pyro, and that was really cool. Flame, you did some flame in there.
Yeah. Towards the end here, we start combining different things that we've learned, like different solvers. So that one would be kind of a combination of particles and volumes.
Let's see, 11. Did we lose Mark?
No, he's
still there. Oh, he's still there.
Yeah.
You froze for a second.
I just got quiet. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Good. All right. Let's see.
I love
liquids, fluids, flip.
This one was super awesome. It made me feel a lot more comfortable in liquids, but I'll tell you what, they're slow to sim.
Yeah.
I have found.
Yeah.
But yeah,
this one's
those
liquids get crazy. I think that they are, you know, and I kind of talk about this a little bit in that, but like liquids are the thing that uses every single thing that you've learned in Houdini. Like you've got particle simulations, you've got volumetric simulations, and then they're both talking to one another. Yeah. And then you've got then when you're done, you have to fluid surface it. So you're dealing with VDBs and meshing, and then attributes, transferring attributes back onto the geo so you can get motion blur, all that stuff. It just sort of is the most complicated thing I think you could do with a sim, as of at least that I can think of right now. Besides some of that crazy bread baking stuff that is way beyond that stuff, I have no idea how they're doing that. But in terms of what ships with
that'll be in the next course, right?
Yeah, for sure. As soon as they build a solver into Houdini, then we can talk. I don't know how those people do that, if they're building that stuff like in a different engine, or I don't know how they're doing that. But that stuff is mind blowing. At any rate, I think that fluids, like as far as what Houdini does right now, fluids are one of the most complicated and taxing types of sims that are out there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hard part is like making sure that there's no like jitteriness, you know, and stuff like that. That was something that I ran into doing something myself, you know, not this course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I have my total number of hours. If you guys
yes,
let's hear it. Yeah,
boy.
What is it?
All right, so I started in late December of 2000 and what was the last year? So I started in late December of 2018, starting to write the syllabus, and then I worked all throughout more or less various parts of 2019, and then just a little bit of wrap up here at the end as we were pushing the course out. But the total number is 317 hours.
Woo! Wow.
Man.
It's not as bad as I thought. It felt like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I probably spent, I don't know. I mean, at least 100 hours, if not 200 hours. I didn't really keep track of it like you did, you know, in the editing process. I would say maybe 100. Maybe 100 is probably a good round number.
Yeah, I think like double the amount of time that you end up in a final edit seems like pretty solid.
Yeah, even though I was editing at 2x speed, I still had to stop and cut and do things, and it usually took about real time. Yeah. Well, I let the encoding go overnight.
And I had to go through the entire course and actually do the entire thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, to make sure nothing was messed up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I seriously thank you guys, because honestly, I've wanted to make a thing like this for years. It's ever since I started feeling comfortable in Houdini, I was like, I want to do this thing that we just did. And the undertaking is so massive. Just thinking about how to arrange the first 4 chapters took me probably a large portion of that time, a larger portion of that time than you'd guess. I spent like 40 to 80 hours just rearranging how the order of the first 5 chapters flows, because that's the part It's super easy to dive in and do a bunch of advanced tutorials, throw some Vex at people, assume that they know everything, and just be like, here, check this out. We're going to do burnt. You know, I've done some tutorials on YouTube before, and they're like straight up Vex, and that's easy. If you know Vex, you know, or you're assuming that your users know Vex, no problem. But when you're really sitting here trying to come from the perspective of a person who's never looked at this stuff before and trying to get them into it, you can't just be throwing Vex at them day one. You gotta like
basically really... you're like, I'm such a badass that it's really hard for me to dumb it down.
Oh no,
I'm just kidding.
If not, no, I probably sound like a huge jerk if that's the way.
No, I'm totally messing with you.
No, like. It's one of those things like trying to figure out how to get that foundation like articulated in a way that like it makes sense. Like it was super hard for me.
Yeah.
So that was definitely what a lot of the effort went into, you know, that first beginning part.
And we had a sit down when we first talked about it. I was like, hey, let's go have a drink and talk about this or something, you know, and you met me up at the bar / hotel place where I was at, and we were talking about it a little bit, and I've messed with Houdini before. I've tried, you know, and I said, here's the deal, because I've been talking to a lot of people. You know, we had talked to I don't know if I talked to Simon Homedal yet, because I met him overseas, I think after that, but the general consensus was everybody was trying to get in Houdini and couldn't. And so the only advice that I had for you at all for this course was, here's what the name's going to be. Stop being afraid of Houdini. So I would say if anybody's taking the course, please, we love when you post your stories on Instagram or photos or post a testimonial. You know, if you're doing a sim or you're doing something cool or whatever it is, you know, do the story, tag us in there, tag Mark in there, do the hashtag Stop Being Afraid of Houdini. Just so we can see it. We love to see it in action, because then we feel like we've, you know, maybe made a difference in somebody's life. You know, so after all that work, so
Travis Ragzell in the chat, he posted a story the other day after he bought it, and it was the pig head, and he had put a mountain node on it, and he was messing with it to where it was all like wonky, and he's like, my second day in Houdini.
Yeah, I saw that.
My reaction when, you know, I don't know, it's pretty funny.
I want to say it was Billy who commented somewhere the other day, like, now when we get to NAB this year, we're going to actually know what other people are talking about. I feel like because I didn't go step by step, but I just through osmosis in 2x speed absorbed so much. I at least understand what's going on now and what people are talking about. So, so
for sure.
You ready to release your Vex course now?
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah. By the way, I have this Vex. I'm just kidding. I haven't even barely thought about anything like that. But I would say that it was such a fun time, like making this course, that you get kind of addicted to it after a while. So we'll see. You know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Might want to take a little break first. Just you know, chillax a little and whatever. But and we had a late comer in the chat. Apologies if this was already answered. But do you need to have a foundation of 3D? Now, a foundation, again, when we say a foundation, like if you've never done any 3D before and you pick this course up, I would say it's going to be a little more difficult than if you know.
For sure.
I don't know. Probably.
I mean, even stuff like the axes and if you don't know what X, Y, and Z is, that's going to be really hard. I mean, it's definitely going to be easier if you know some 3D, have some 3D background. But you know what? Pick up a free copy and do the free tutorial that we just put out to do the sphere and just get from A to Z with that and see if it feels like something you can follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis, we were actually just talking about that right before the show, like doing some one-off tutorials and specific techniques and stuff, you know. We've talked about it, and nothing is official yet, but so
we're kicking around some ideas what that would be, so hopefully we can start rolling out a bunch of free tutorials now in all sorts of platforms. So
for sure.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up unless anybody has any other questions or things they want to talk about. I don't know.
Before we head out, I just want to say like a super thank you to you guys, also to the beta testers and the early adopters who have bought into this program already without having like, you know, any real like, you know, you are the ones who are running this course or who are going to be like more or less the first public opinion on this course. And I really appreciate you taking the faith to, you know, check it out. And you know, always come try and like, you know, check out the discussions on there. Come find me on the Slacks or whatever. We want to make this the best that it can be. So open to suggestions.
And Travis wants to know if you're in DFW.
We're all in DFW.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of us.
Mark works for Already Been Chewed, and we're all going to be up there for lunch tomorrow. It'll be a good time. So we all live really far away from each other, but we're all going to
Not me and Mark.
Dallas,
me and
Fort
Mark
Worth.
live 15 minutes away from each other.
That's true. I'm far away from you.
On the other hand.
Cool. All right. I think that's probably it. So if you have any other questions, feel free to jump in our Slack channel. Hit us up on all the things, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube comments. You can find us everywhere. And if you do have questions, again, in the actual course and you're in the course, hit up discussions, unless you want to try and, you know, hit up in the Slack if you're already a member there. But
or you can email us.
Or you can email us too.
Mograph.com.
Yeah, many ways to get a hold of us. So
yep.
So without further ado, let's let the learning begin.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for joining us for this Mograph late night special. We hope you enjoyed it.
Nice.
We're gonna go to bed.
Thanks for joining.
We're gonna go to bed.
Yeah. Thanks for checking it out.
Yeah. All right. Until next time, I'm Dave.
I'm Matt.
I'm Mark.
Have a good one.
Later, yo.
Later.
Oh my gosh.
Every time.